Hello and welcome to what episode is it?
55.
Hello and welcome to episode 55. I'll be your host, Tim Allen 1337. Moreland TV's doing his best to tilt me straight before I have to do an intro.
Yeah.
And it worked. We have a wonderful show lined up for you today. We're actually going to be doing, all four of us are going to be doing a conquest war, a siege, or node, or whatever you want to call it in New World, somewhat in the middle of this podcast. So if we yell out random letters, it's because we're pushing to that. So apologies in advance, but we are loving the hell out of this game. So we're not going to apologize for that. We're excited to give you our takes on the game and all that kind of stuff. But first, let me introduce my podcast mates here. I'm not going to tell you how I did that, Potion Shop TV.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I've been enjoying New World. Been having a good week.
Donate now to feed this poor man's guacamole addiction, Moreland TV.
Just for the record, the thing I said to tilt Tim was that I didn't hate certain people. That was what made him angry.
Well, they were lies. So how much what the fuck? Oh, how much do you heal for? How about the rest of your friends? All right, watch me double all of that. The amazing New World healer, Kerr, also known as Prince.
Dude. I didn't choose this life, but it chose me. I don't know if I'm healing on release, bro.
Yes, you are.
I don't know if I'm healing on release. Maybe. We'll see. Most likely, but...
Is it because you got like a lucky perk and you're not sure if you can get it again?
No, dude.
Called out.
Dude, I'm still using a level 20 shield and like a level 30 staff, okay?
So instead of this week, instead of going through and seeing how everybody's week was, because we have constantly been in comms doing the same thing this week, I think we're actually going to shift gears this time and ask Potion Shop to bring up. I know Kerr just went through the patch notes of BDO too, so I figured we could just hustle through that real quick. And then we can talk about New World as we play New World. So Potion, if you'd like to walk us through some stuff, or Kerr, whoever's more prepared.
Yo, if you want to hit the regular patch notes, Potion, and I can hit the global app changes.
Absolutely. So for regular BDO this week, we got the Corsair buffs, and so that was for Succession. Long overdue. They buffed 3 abilities. I don't think it's enough to really bring her where she needs to be, but it's a huge step in the right direction, so I'm glad they finally did that. They made it where you can now move up to 20 items with your maids up into Central Marketplace. And so that's a huge quality of life update that you can do that now.
You can move what? Say again?
You can move from your inventory to Central Marketplace 20 items, and I believe that includes maids also.
So like without maids, you can move 20 items, or like a stack of...
So like if you have like 20 Peel of Phase scrolls, for example, that don't stack, you can move 20 of those over at a time.
Oh.
Or like 20 like Grinnell helmets, for example. That would be another thing that would be frustrating in the past.
Okay, cool. That's neat.
Yep, a really good quality of life change, and people have been looking for something like that for a long time. They'll also make things that aren't reblath a little bit more viable, that are actually worth enhancing. Like a lot of times people, they want to do Grinnell helmets because you want to sit there clicking for 20 times, or if you run relic scrolls, not half your time is pulling out the relics now, so
yeah.
So pretty nice. Turing Water Park has come out, and they added a ton of dailies and quests with that. They added I believe the swimsuit you can get again. So if you do enough of those dailies, you can trade in for the swimsuit, which is tradition at this point. And they added the koi event back. So you can get the koi and the golden perch, which is worth, I think, 10 mil. So that's what they've done for the fishing event. And that's basically regular BDO. There's some other stuff in there that they're working on. But that's the main thing.
It always amazes me how excited people get for the koi event. It's like, yay, we get to play another game.
Well, that event was crazy when it first came out. I think people are still just...
Is that what it is? We all just...
The hype of the first one. It's like the Golden Dagger event. Remember how crazy that shit was?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's pretty good, though, too.
Yeah, like doubled your income just about.
Yeah, 5 mil back then was huge. So that's really all the updates. Do we have any idea how Corsair is fitting into the meta? Or is it just kind of another class searching for its relevancy?
I think it has a place for anti-shield classes, classes that like singing their shield the entire time. I think it does a pretty good job of countering that. But I still feel like in PvE that it's having some troubles just keeping up with like the top end classes. So I don't know. I mean, I think fun wise, it's definitely there. If you pick it up, I think anybody would say that it's a really really fun class to play, and they enjoy playing it. But it's hard to convince yourself to continue playing it when you're losing like 20% trash an hour.
Wow, is it that far off?
Yeah, it's pretty far off. Well, I mean, compared to like Striker, Lawn, and the other like top end classes.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, she has like an interesting play style. I've seen a decent bit of people do really good on her when they're geared because she has some abilities where she can hit you and she basically stops you from regenerating your block. So like you can't just tunnel in your block. You have to go without your block for like 10 seconds. So like when they have the damage to actually push through your block, and she has a chain of abilities she can do for like 12 seconds of iframes, right? It's like 12 seconds of invincibility. Um, and she's pretty dang protected. She's still missing a bit, right? She doesn't have like all of her abilities, but I think she has the basis to be a really strong class once she has
Has Awaken
everything
not
fleshed
come
out.
out yet?
No.
Wow, it's had to have been a month, right?
So it was gonna be the end of July or the beginning of August because they said 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, 4 to 5 weeks. So there should be like some kind of preview video coming up maybe next week, but yeah, they've been kind of silent.
Now they did do a teaser image for it, I believe, which looks very similar to the Awakening on Nova. Looks kind of similar to that in my opinion. And they also gave a preview of another class, I guess. Those are I have both those in Discord, but not completely sure what that is.
What's the new class?
They showed a pistol and a cannon. So
Ooh,
I
think
kind of
it's a
took
dwarf.
that as
Now
her
it's a
awakening
pirate.
is going to summon those Papu and Creo guys, the little guys that were on her ship, to like shoot little cannons and stuff. That's the way
maybe-
I took that. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems interesting. It'd be she points her finger and then an old dude shows up, goes poof, and fires a cannon.
Yeah, that's the way I took that, where she kind of just summons them.
Does Corsair, the company, have any new products coming out? Maybe that could be a hint as to what her. Next,
Oh, they
stuff there would be.
actually did do like a crossover where they were giving away Corsair stuff with the BDO Corsair launch on their
Yeah.
Twitter. It's kind of wild how they've just like completely gone into the fuck it. We're just gonna do brand deals with everybody in BDO now.
We named our brand new class after our brand deal.
Yeah, dude. Like Bugatti, they did Red Bull, they did Corsair.
Dude,
They
what
did
if there
Red
was a
Bull?
Bugatti class though?
Zoom.
Fast as fuck, boy.
Autobot, bro, some kind of like transformer.
That'd actually be kind of dope.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kurt, what do we got for the Global Lab?
So for Global Labs, they're kind of continuing that trend of putting in stuff into the game that people have been asking for forever. So they have they finally did that thing that Moreland was like, why is this in the game? They made it so on Global Labs that you won't have a 10-minute cooldown for moving 100 stack, which should have never been there
Yay.
anyway.
Hey,
So that's a thing.
you're
on top
welcome,
of
BDO
that-
community.
On top of
You're
that,
the only one who said that.
so they added the second dungeon to Global
What else
Labs.
can I take credit for?
But you can't run the dungeon until it goes live, which
Yeah.
is fucking weird. So they added the second dungeon to Global Labs, but you can't actually run the dungeon on Global Labs until it hits live servers. And they showed some pictures. It's like an underwater. The second dungeon is like an underwater area, and you have to have completed the first dungeon, right? And it looks pretty cool. It looks kind of interesting.
Did you get into a dungeon group today?
I did not. No, I didn't
I
get
was
into a
hoping you were
dungeon
going
group.
to.
I was wanting to, but I think most people have used up their good run for the week. So I gotta wait until.
Oh, you can only do it like once or twice, right?
Well, you can spam it, right? But like you get the good rewards one time per character every week, right?
Yeah, and then
Got
it's
it.
up to 2 characters.
Yeah, up to so your main character and the tag character. So I imagine like I gotta wait until like Wednesday, which will be the reset for people that ran it early or like the day it came out, right? And it looks kind of cool, I guess. It's like an underwater theme. You have to have done the first dungeon. Maybe it's gonna turn out to be good. I still got to get around to trying the dungeon. Other than that, the mansion shit. So the mansion, when it first came out on Global Labs, you needed 50 CP to get it. They lowered that to 5. I mean, it's kind of
What?
pointless that it was at 50, but yeah, they lowered it from 50 contribution to 5 contribution to get the mansion.
I mean,
So it's free.
yeah, basically, they went from
yeah.
super expensive to free. I kind of wish
Yeah.
it had kind of gone for a middle ground,
Weird.
like 25 or something. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I thought like it'd be something where you actually had to do something to earn the right to get the mansion, but it's just
I
like
still don't understand what it is. Is it just like a bigger house?
It's
does
just
it have
a big house.
function?
Bigger
It's just a
house
big
and more
house.
customization. I think you get some farm plots, but I haven't seen anything in any of their posts to see if that's real. So
So that's a thing. Other than that, Node Wars, they doubled down on the 10 mercs for Siege.
What do you mean double down? Like it's actually in the game?
Yeah, on the Global Labs, it's
Okay.
it's 10. So 10 is the cutoff for
Were they getting
Siege.
pushback for that?
I'm not sure. So some people were talking in chat and they were giving me a link. Apparently, there's gonna be a protest on the Korean server today, and Jae-hee Kim is gonna answer some questions live during or after the KR siege, because apparently Korea's having some big backlash shit. That's
To
interesting.
mercs or just to the game in general?
Just to the game in general.
Oh,
okay,
Yeah,
bro. I was
yeah.
like,
Just
oh my
dude,
gosh.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, just to the overall direction of the game. So like I don't know how that's gonna work or what time that's gonna be. It should be kind of soon, right? Just because the way the time zones work.
We'll have to keep an eye out and get that covered next week for sure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see like if any, because I literally if there's anybody that can have anything happen, it's gonna be like they're gonna list to the Korean player base more so
Yeah.
than like any
Yeah.
other ones. So that's kind of interesting. And apparently, like Jae-hee Kim did he did like a post and addressed it. I can like link you what he said, but he was talking about switching their focus to Siege and the the rebooting of old classes. That's probably lip service, like a typical PR statement. Our players are mad, so let's tell them what they want to hear. But
Well, they worked on that Siege stuff for like
We'll see.
6 months and never released it.
yeah, like
Yeah,
they just scrapped it.
They did that a couple times, dude. Like, remember when it started coming out this last time? I was like, yeah, we've been here before. Like, fuck you, I'm not dumb. And
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. And now, pretty much ever since Moreland's quit, there's been like this kind of resurgence of interest in fixing some things. I'm sure which was a culmination of a bunch of things, not just him, because he's not that important.
I just dropped the link into the Discord. It was the address he made to KR players, and apparently he's gonna be on a stream for the Siege later to like answer questions live and shit like that. Obviously, it's probably gonna be catered PR questions and stuff, but I guess we'll see how that goes.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, like I'm really confused on what they're trying to do.
I hope it's better than nothing. A lot of the Q&As they've done, I think nothing would have been better, like historically.
Well, the Jae-hee Kim has done a pretty good job of not do. He likes doing impromptu instead of doing like formal. I read off a piece of paper and my teleprompter told me to say this. Where JSOC, the guy who did it the last Hideout Ball, he just basically read off a piece of paper. This is why I'm going to say, or I already talked about this, so I'm going to talk about something different. So I actually have liked every single time Jae-hee Kim has talked about something. Like he has said off the top of his head one day he got a question right at I think it was Hideout Ball 2 years ago, and he was like, "Can we get a toggle for our what's it called, aggressivor?" And he's like, "Yeah, we can do that in like a week. We can do that in a week." And he just knocked it out, right? And this is like offhand, he like made a decision right there to do that, and I think that's really nice. You know.
Okay, well, that was from a question that was submitted.
Yeah,
like-
those were all pre-written. I don't think that any of that was off the top of their head.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see if they're like. I definitely don't think they're gonna be like picking questions from Twitch chat or anything, but we're gonna see. I don't fucking know, dude.
I remember a
Crusader
time
Awakening
when
win.
I remember a time when one of the players asked Jay Kim for something off the top of their head, and Jay Kim said that he would put it in the game.
Oh yeah, was it about
Yeah.
Lakiaros?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in person. Yeah, he even wrote it down right in front of the guy. Yeah,
Wow,
told him he would
dude.
do it. Yeah,
You're
I
just
remember that.
ungrateful. They had those mythical feathers, and he worked so hard to make sure they get those mythical feathers in there, and you just aren't thankful for him. I don't know what to say.
I will never forgive him for that.
Nor should you.
They other than that, they did some UI improvements, so they made it so that or they did a complete revamp of the non-existent friend system, chat system that we have in BDO, which is by far like so fucking dated, bro. Even games from like 1995 had better like friend list UI. So they completely redid that and made it it looks better. All there is like pictures there. You can like send emojis and shit, and like it
Right.
saves up to 100 conversations and stuff like that. Like it keeps a chat
Wow.
log of your conversations with people and stuff. Yeah,
That's not gonna lag.
I gotta see, dude. I remember that
So
one
laggy.
time. I remember that one time the friends list was the reason they was having server issues. It's
Yeah,
like-
that one time for years.
Yeah, that one time for like 24 months.
Yeah, basically. And that's kind of it from this. They fixed some issues. Apparently Dark Knight wasn't doing full damage on like 2 skills, which is fucking weird because Dark Knight's insane right now. So they weren't doing full damage on Seeds of Catastrophe and Enforcement 3. And it's like, which is weird because those skills, she does so much damage. So we'll see what that, like how that fixes, if that changes anything. But that's it. The main draw for this patch was just them adding in the second dungeon to global apps, but you can't do it until it hits live servers. So
And it's still coming out in Korea first, probably, right? Do we
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They only said that the final dungeon will be global release. So
That's so weird.
Why?
I don't fucking know, dude. But they said they said that the only one that will be global release is the final dungeon. So we still have.
So
the
they
first
know that
3.
it's a problem. They just refuse to acknowledge it or fix it until the last possible set. Like that's almost weird than not acknowledging it all, or worse than not acknowledging it all.
Fuck if I know why they're doing it, dude. It's just so weird, especially something like that what players have been asking for a long time, and it's like you can only experience the mechanics fresh one time, and like we didn't even get the thing added into our servers for like the first couple parties to complete it, get a special title. Like they didn't even do that for NAEU because
Yeah, why should they? It's not
like,
an
why?
accomplishment.
It's not. It's not an accomplishment. It's just whoever watches the Korean
Yeah.
stream do it for, and like it wouldn't even be that bad if we like. Obviously, it's bad having to wait, but if we had to wait 1 week, okay, whatever. That's still bad, but it's whatever. But we had to wait 2 fucking months, bro, to receive the first dungeon. Like, how do you release new content like that? That's so huge for your game and make people wait 8 weeks. That's insane. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the fuck's making these decisions, but that's a thing. So we still have the second dungeon and the third dungeon that will not be global release, and then the fourth dungeon they said will be global release. But
I'm excited for you to do this dungeon. I really want to know what your opinion on it is.
Yeah, I was looking forward to hearing about it this week.
yeah, there's a couple people that have been really highly regarded on it, and some people are just like, it's whatever. So I want to really get to try it, but it seems a lot of people have already done their like money runs for it for the week. So I gotta wait till like Wednesday, which lines up pretty well because like the New World beta ends on the 2nd, right?
Yo, I'll join you on Wednesday.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, Moro, come back for a day to do the dungeon, please.
No chance.
Fuck, dude, it was worth a shot.
I'm excited to get back to FF14. I've been away for too long. I was playing a little bit off stream while I couldn't sleep, and yeah, I'm gonna definitely not be playing BDO after this. I'm absolutely gonna be playing 14.
We'll find some randoms and we'll get back to you. We'll see. It should be okay. But that's about it for this week. Nothing too crazy, honestly. So I
New
guess we can
World.
just go straight into the New World stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do we have any contact with these guys for this war that starts in 30 seconds?
They haven't responded to me. I asked them if they wanted to use our shot caller, and they didn't say anything.
Sweet.
So I assume the boys will just get into the cord.
I'm still trying to make it to Reekwater. I got killed by all these level 65 mobs.
Well, you have 1 minute, so good luck, buddy.
Literally.
New Worlds actually fixed one of the major bugs from preview that was somehow still in the game for beta. So we had quite a swing of emotions last night, starting off with being just off the fucking planet tilted that the corruption you can't declare war bug was still in the game. You remember that shit from a year ago?
Oh,
That
yeah.
we were bitching about on the podcast, where we couldn't declare war in the second half of the preview because every territory was bugged out from corruption invasions. Yeah, so that bug was still in the game last night when we tried to deck on First Light. So we went out and spent hours and hours doing the quests, which are awful objectives that need to be changed. But we pushed through them, and then we couldn't declare war. So I was flipping out, right? Just like I was a year ago, that shit was still in the game. But they patched it. Like this time around, they actually noticed it and patched it. So I don't know if like Josh OG, was saying something about it on stream, or I don't know how the signal actually got to the devs this time. But yeah, they actually fixed it in this morning's patch, and the corruptions no longer cuck you from warring. Like, I mean, they do if they're supposed to, but the bug is gone. So that was amazing.
Yeah, I was spamming it last night, and then I was like, wait, there's gonna have an invasion. We can't even war. So I just like went to bed.
Well, the invasion was over, right? Like, if there's an upcoming invasion, you're not supposed to be able to declare war, but you can see that on the map. Like, the territory gets thrown into it's like the bar turns red and says upcoming invasion.
Yeah.
So if you don't see that upcoming invasion, you are supposed to be able to declare war, even if there's corruption in that territory. So we threw the territory in conflict and still couldn't declare on it, which was a massive bug. But yeah, they actually fixed it. So shout out to New World devs for,
Hell
getting
yeah.
to that.
And the slow bug's gone, right? And
The slow bug is gone. Yeah, yeah.
But
I am a little bit worried that we're starting to have like the, like bar couldn't be set any lower expectation. Kind of like how, people in BDO get excited that there's a character
True.
page. I'm starting to feel the same way about New World, where it's like we're getting excited that, the massive actual game breaking, you can't do anything, bugs are getting fixed. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being cynical.
well, I mean,
maybe a little bit. I think that the amount of bugs that they have like a master list of bugs. Somebody put in guild chat and Discord, and they're just like crossing through them. They're just knocking them out one by one, and it doesn't even matter how big or small it is. Like they're just all listed, and so it seems like a daunting task for 3 or 4 weeks. But I still hope they extend this beta just maybe another week or so, just to kind of flesh out some of these things. Maybe like even test out some balance with whatever that thing's called that you can do at 60, the fortress rush or whatever.
Oh yeah, the outpost rush.
Yeah, I'd really like to,
I wonder if that's getting tested at all right now.
Well, I'm not really, pushing to 60. There's like this weird PvP scaling where you kind of get nerfed when you're 60. So I'm not super pushing to 60.
Yeah,
And
I wanted
nobody's
to
gonna
talk
be
to you
60
guys
enough.
about that.
Nobody's
I
gonna be
actually
60
got into
enough to win.
war.
Oh, good. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yo, get them to put us in a group if you can.
I don't know who to talk to.
I would like to talk about that though, like the
I
concept of
absolutely want to talk
scaling.
about the PvP scaling because it's probably the most confused I've ever been in my gaming career.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like obviously I could maybe understand it if the game was literally you are flagged at all times and you could literally go to a beginner area and just slaughter anyone. But the fact that the PvP is literally opt in so that someone has to physically give you consent to kill them, it's not even like you can grief in PvP.
Well, so let's explain to people who don't know that New World has this system where your stats are artificially boosted if you're low level and you're fighting a higher level. or the higher levels stats are artificially reduced. It's unclear exactly how it works. There's been some supposed like exposed videos that try to show how it works, and they're just completely wrong, and their math doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But of course, they still get thousands of upvotes on Reddit. But yeah, the argument is that your character's progression actually should not have a significant impact on your ability to PvP. The people in New World believe that only PvE progression should exist, and that in PvP, everyone should be the same strength, whether you're level 10 or level 60. And I was shocked. I thought for sure that would be a minority opinion, but it's like absolutely the standard point of view for this game. It is what all the New World players want, and I think they're gonna get what they want.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. Okay, go ahead. My bad.
I mean, I think ultimately, like, the reason this is an issue is because they're modeling this, I believe, after Destiny 2. In Destiny 2, you still have, like, rare items that are best in slot to go and chase, right? You still have that exotic weapon that's really good. You still have, like, the, you know, SMG that's best in slot, and you still go and chase that item. And, you know, it is equalized in PvP, but you still have an item to chase. And so in this game, you don't have those items to chase, really. You don't really have any of those. And since you don't have any of those items to chase, it boils down to this gear score, right? Gear score. And I feel like, you know, taking that away from the gear progression, this feels really strange when you go up and a level 12 hits you for 3,000 damage, and then you hit them for like 1,000 damage because they didn't bounce it right. You know, it's just a very strange thing. I mean, there's two problems here, right? One, they just didn't bounce it correctly in the first place, right? And then two, like, it's fundamentally flawed because of the, you know, how their game's designed.
I mean, I can kind of see the argument for closing the gap so that like new players don't just absolutely get decimated. Like, give a chance to the level 12 if he gets jumped by a level 60, like, you know, so he doesn't just get one shot. I could kind of see the argument there, but you know, again, the problems with that are A, PvP is opt-in. B, there's way better solutions. For example, you could just cap gear score in the starter zones to 200, right? And then anyone, no matter what level they are, like, they would get synced down to that. And so, you know, it would be your choice if you wanted to PvP in a low level zone or if you wanted to go to a high level zone and use your gear there. Kind of like the level sync from FF14, right? They could just use that in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bunch of better solutions, but like, I don't know, I'm surprised they went so far in the Reddit post that got all these upvotes to outright say that your progression should not impact PvP. Like, that's a step beyond, you know, low levels should be able to participate or low levels should have a chance. Like, they literally believe that none of your gear, none of your stats, none of your progression at all should impact PvP, and that PvP should just be this completely equalized, like, Call of Duty deathmatch mode in an open world MMO. And that is the standard point of view in New World. That's really hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah,
They also don't seem to realize that the age old thing where it's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So it's like people that are like the loud majority aren't really the majority in a lot of cases. They're just the ones that are being vocal, because like if someone's enjoying the game and they're like your core audience and they're fine with it, they're not going to just go out of their way to a forum to like bitch and moan, right? Like, it's going to be the guy that's just getting shit on, not putting time in, like just has something negative to say. That's going to be the one that's being vocal, and they're going to, you know, be polarizing to more people, more so than the people that are like enjoying the game. Like, if you're enjoying the game, you're not going to go to the forums, right? Like, that's just typically how it is, or it's the way that I see it in most games, right?
I mean, when I played WoW Classic and I got ganked in Stranglethorn Vale at level 38 by someone who was level 60, I didn't like that, but I understood that it was part of the game, and it was part of the like point of me leveling up and getting my gear was to become strong enough to then, you know, deal with that type of player who is currently stronger than me. Like, that's what an MMO RPG is. It's like your character has power. It's not just a pure measurement of player skill versus player skill. We have first person shooters for that. We have MOBAs for that. We have battle royale games for that. The whole point of a persistent world with progression is that the things you do in that world matter. And the only way that the things you do in that world matter and persist is if there is progression. So like, I just don't, it seems like they unironically want just another, like a battle royale type PvP or something in this game.
Yeah, and if they were gonna do that, why even make the like team deathmatch
Why are we-
like style a level 60 barrier, right? To do the fort rush, the
Yeah,
reward
exactly.
fort rush.
Why don't we just have queuable battlegrounds that you can
Yeah.
get to at level 1 like FF14 does, that just set everyone to the same skills and the same stats, and it's completely fair, and then we can just queue up for it. And then you can leave open world the fuck alone. Like, there's so many better solutions to this. And I think one thing that's fascinating about this too is that I think a big part of the reason people were so eager to jump on the PvP scaling thing has nothing to do with the PvP scaling itself. I think it has to do with hatred of streamers. Because have you noticed how every single one of the narratives, every single one of the big posts or like big Reddit posts or big YouTube videos is all about shit, like shitting on some streamer, some level 40 streamer who died to a level 19. And it's like, oh, this fucking streamer's complaining because he got owned by this level 19 who outskilled him. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck streamers. Keep the PvP scaling. They're just a bunch of crybabies. And it's like, no one's really even talking about the actual issue. They're just talking about, like how like annoying streamers are in all the comments. It's very weird.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a narrative like that going on right now for sure.
I think they're just still, playing it safe. I think that they're watching the gameplay and all the posts really closely, because I think whatever team they've got in there now is like too scared to really just like make a stance, right? I think the last guy got fired or replaced for making a stance, and it kind of being like a, market research didn't show that was going to work out well, or some trusted consult came in, or whatever the case was. So I think the directive may even be, let's just pussyfoot around and see what happens and see if we're led to water. So I don't know if saying like their stance is that PvP shouldn't be part of your PvE progression and it's completely separate. Like, I understand they probably said that, but I don't think they believe that. You know what I mean? I think they're fishing for answers that make sense to them, and they're kind of throwing out this bait and seeing who does what and who says what. I just don't think, the same as last week. I think they're focused on polishing this game and figuring out which way they're going to push it.
If the majority of the people who play the game want for PvP to be equalized in open worlds, don't you think that that's what they'll do? I mean, these are devs who, they're almost the opposite of BDO devs, right? Like, we complain that BDO devs never listen, but we complain that Amazon devs listen too much. It's like literally whatever gets posted on their forum is what gets added into the game.
Isn't this kind of a moot point anyway, since everyone's eventually all going to be 60, unless you have some like super weird sweaty tryhard that only PvPs at level 49?
Of course it's not a moot point, Tim. Of course it's not a moot point. You want
not
all
moot, but eventually it'll solve itself, right? Like, we're all going to be PvPing at level 60.
No, there's always going to be low level, especially if people don't have to put in the effort. There's always going to be low levels. There's going to be twinks. There's going to be people who would figure out how the system works and abuse it. But just the fact that you can't feel your progression in an MMO is never going to be a moot point, man. Like,
that's kind of the weirdest
point
thing,
of leveling
right?
up if you don't actually gain power in PvP. How is that? That's not moot at all. That ruins the entire sense of progression for me.
I chose the wrong word. Okay, but I'm still substantially more powerful than people. Like, if some level 45 did get shit on by 19 with losing all their weapon skills, not having passives from their intel and con and all that kind of stuff, they kind of and they're a huge streamer, they may kind of deserve to be shit on a little bit, because even though the scaling might be there a little bit, I'm substantially more powerful, even if all stats are equal in PvP. So I still
you're
personally
not though. Have you seen these clips, dude? You get one comboed by a level 19 with a rapier at level 60. Like, what stats? What could he have done differently if he catches one rapier CC and just dies instantly?
No, I haven't seen those clips.
Two back-to-back 1600 damage crits that just immediately delete him. Like, I mean,
you don't even have to go for the clips. Like the PvP we were doing last night, like people like I can't remember their fucking weird ass names, but literally they hit you. They're playing at like level 26 and they hit you for
Yeah,
you know,
it
1500
doesn't
damage.
it
Really?
doesn't feel good for me to spend 100 hours leveling up my character and going a full con build and then not even be tanky when someone who's been playing the game for 5 hours starts shooting me
Yeah.
when they've put no work into their character whatsoever. Like, I mean,
I
if
did a
again, if
couple
we want
hours.
to play an equalized mode, then just add an equalized mode. Just add a battleground where everyone's instantly level 60, and then we'll do Final Fantasy 14 PvP. But there's a reason that nobody likes Final Fantasy 14 PvP, and that's probably part of it.
Yep. I mean, ultimately, like if you're playing a game like this, you're choosing to participate in their progression system, right? That is like your choice that you're making. And if you don't want to do that, then there's other games out there that offer that. And any game right now that has chosen to allow you to skip the progression phase in the MMO has done really poorly. And that's true time and time again, right? Whether that be catch-up mechanics or that be equalized PvP. You can look at Guild Wars 2. Like Guild Wars 2 equalizes all of its stuff out. Makes it really easy to get up there. Terrible. Like it's just like I don't think that really works.
Well, I think that's where this is all coming from, right? It's all coming from, either Destiny or Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 gets brought up a lot in my chat whenever we talk about this. And I didn't play Guild Wars 2, so I don't know how this works, but apparently like that's where people got used to having gear equalized PvP is from that game. Is that where this is all coming from?
It's a terrible PvP system. I don't remember how it all works. It's been years since I played, and I'm sure they've changed it since.
I mean, there's a lot of people who like it, so I guess those are the ones making noise about this game.
And at least with Destiny, you still have these like a lot of exotics to go for. Because I remember like back in the day, my younger brother and I grinding for the Galahorn, back in the day, a long time ago. So it's like even though it's equalized, there's still exotic weapons and gear that kind of add a little bit of differentiation, more so than just like everybody's on the same playing field at all times, right?
So Guild Wars 2 had a mode where gear mattered, called World versus Worlds. And that was pretty successful, but all the queuable PvP for 90% of it was, all of it was not queuable or not. The World versus World was the only thing where your gear actually mattered.
These servers are instantly dying the moment we get on this point.
Yeah, their servers are crazy laggy.
Oh man!
Wow.
Should we talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah, they have a huge issue with lag right now.
How are they? Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't like
sieges
that in
are
our
like
first
this
one.
on launch, dude.
It wasn't like that in our first war, though. Like that's the weirdest thing.
It's so bad. And the thing is, like, I think it just comes down to how much server performance they're putting into each region, because each region is its own server. And we know that just because, like, when a server crashes, it'll be like one region will crash.
They're just winning this point for like no reason.
Like my heals aren't even going off, and none of the damage is going through. It's really weird.
I mean, this is why, like, I'm very worried the game won't last more than a month or two, because the game is so fucking good. But when you experience, if this is how all the sieges are, you're gonna stop doing them after a couple weeks. Like, you're just literally just gonna stop showing up. What's the point, right?
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like the game is going to have a really good 3 months, but anything past that, it's going to be on Amazon, like making good decisions and listening and not really listening to the player base overly, honestly.
It's so up in the air right now, man.
Yep. It's just 50-50. Like, they've been doing a good job fixing bugs, but this one is something that you can't just be like, we patched the one thing, like, I feel like this is going to be a more longer lasting bug.
And it's only 50v50, right? So it's like,
yeah, it's when people clump up on a single point like this. So they design the game so that you have to clump up within the same 5-meter radius, and then the game breaks whenever people clump up on the same 5-meter radius. If they actually just had objectives here that were spread out, if you had to capture like all 3 points at once or something, then this wouldn't happen. It only happens when everybody bodies a single point.
I'm really curious to see what happens with First Light War, because First Light, it was, definitely was lagging for day one, and they did something to fix that. And I'm really curious what that'll look like for our war there. If it's not laggy in First Light, then I think it just comes down to making sure the servers have enough juice to support the wars.
I think it just crashed.
Kara, are you healing this point? I can't tell what the fuck's going on, bro.
Yeah, I'm healing point C.
Okay. I'm probably gonna switch to Warhammer.
Like,
No, it's still going. It's just very, very lagged.
So it's just
the
crazy
first
lag.
war that we had, was it not laggy because they were missing 10 people? Because I thought those people just got replaced with pugs.
Well, the first
right?
war they weren't really missing people, right? It was the second one where they were missing people, the one where you like speed ran them in 6 minutes.
Yeah, that was the one I'm talking about.
Okay. So the first one was the one where we were all still like level 30 and level 20, so like we weren't, like their
Heal me,
siege
Kurt.
engines were smashing us. Dude, my heals aren't even registering. It's real
Their
weird.
abilities suddenly started working and mine stopped.
I don't know what's going on, bro.
yeah, I had little rose-colored glasses about these. I forgot how laggy this gets, especially on a point. It seems to be getting worse too.
But it's so weird. It's only 50v50. It's so odd.
But I guess it's not instance, right? It's on the same server as everything else. But right, there's only one, like compared to BDO, man. If this amount of people was on that, like BDO Node War has like how many people and how much shit going on, and it's actually better than this, which is a rough.
Which is weird because like doesn't Amazon have like crazy good servers?
Well, there's way less to calculate here too. Oh my! They just took 2 points instantly. Servers just got up.
Weird. The server just instantly grabbed.
Well, we should be able to take New Light tomorrow pretty easily then.
Just lag out on the point.
Dude, I don't give a shit if I can shit post about being the only guild that had three points during this thing. That'll be great. I wish we'd get more PvP, but it's or more people dropping on us. But it seems tummy aches are getting in the way of that. So
yeah, I hope that everyone's stomach feels better for launch.
Yeah, that'd be a terrible thing. There's only 5 years left in live. I can't drop on anybody.
Now, what do you guys think about how well they've been doing to actually like alleviate issues? Like, I feel like they've done a superb job of addressing issues so far. Like they fixed the slow bug, and they've gone through and they fixed the invasion where you can't declare invasions.
I don't know if I would say superb. They have fixed 2 very major issues, but there's still like a dozen major issues that are not fixed that are equally as bad or worse than that. There's some bugs that, like, the fact that they exist in the first place is kind of terrifying to me. Like that slow bug, even the capability for that slow bug to exist is a little spooky.
Yeah, like I give them props that they do like really fast at trying to like push out these patches and make changes and stuff. But it's like a lot of it's like this game has been in development for so many years. Like, why is it still even a thing? Right? It kind of gives me that same BDO vibe of like, why are we still here after all this time?
I mean, the Great Axe double damage bug is probably the biggest bug in the game right now.
I just don't know if that's
I
a
don't know why
bug.
that's not fixed.
It's gotta be, dude.
How is it not a bug?
It literally does like quadruple damage of any other weapon, bro. It's crazy, and you can be super armored during it.
And it's tied to a perk that has nothing to do with damage.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the things they've fixed, though, like they've gone through and they've alleviated, like they've gone through and fixed the town board being too much EXP. They've gone through and they have, they've made it where it was 30 minutes instead of 5 minutes for the town board reset, which nerfed the XP by a little bit. And then they went through and they nerfed the XP of that again. And then they've gone through and then they have fixed the invasion bug. They fixed one slow bug. They fixed one fast speed bug. Like I feel like they've like gone through and systematically like gone through all this, right? And is that like a perfect solution? Like, I mean, it's fixed a lot of the problems, and there's still a lot more to go. But I'm really hopeful because it's not like BDO, and it's been out for 2 years, and we've been slugging through a mess. And it's like it's literally been a problem, and then like a couple days after it's a problem, it's been fixed. The only one we haven't. Go ahead.
I think they've done an excellent job with triage, right?
Yeah.
So whether or not the Great Axe thing is a intended mechanic or not, they need to obviously say it is or it isn't. But outside of that, the slow bug and the invasion thing was probably 2 of the biggest problems in the game at the time. there's like UI stuff, and yeah, it's scary that it's still in the game or was in the game, or maybe it was a different build that they put out for beta and they're testing some. Like, who knows, right? It sucks that that is possible, but the fact that they got it fixed in a week's pretty cool too, especially where we come from. And the years and years and years we have to scream about stuff, and how many people have to quit to get it to be heard. So
I do think that they're in the phase now, like with the game launching so close, where they're going to be listening the most to these type of bugs and being the most adamant about fixing them. So it's all going to come down to the next month. Yeah, it's really all going to come down to the next month. We've got to get footage like this fight right here, though.
I'm so glad this isn't our
guild. Get it all over the forums,
because
this is. Could you imagine losing a territory to something like this? Like, what can you even do in this situation?
I'd punch a wall.
You can't even see what the fuck is going on in the game. And you're going to lose your territory because there's invisible people capping a point and you can't retaliate on them. Like, bro, you can't launch the game like that. Territory control, that's the core end game mechanic.
Do you remember what Siege used to be like in BDO?
What Siege still is like in BDO?
Before Lakari freaked out? It was this bad. It was literally this bad.
Yeah, even Siege and BDO though isn't like nearly as impactful as Siege and New World. Like one of the things I love about this game is that the objectives you're sieging are actually insanely valuable. Like I haven't had a PvP game with sieges this important since Darkfall, right? Like it actually matters a lot if you win a siege. So that matters a lot if you lose too, and it matters why you lose. Like if you lost a siege in BDO because of desync, it was like you're mad, but it's not like you worked for weeks to get that, or like you spent a whole bunch of money to drop the deck. Like there's so much more investment. You could be building up the crafting stations in a city for like months, right? And then it gets taken from you because of server issues. That's not okay, dude.
Agreed. Very much agreed. Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize why I was so much more invested in these wars than I was in like BDO. And it really is the not so much risk, but the work versus reward, and how somebody can just come up and yoink that from you, So having that, these are worth a lot, especially if you get the right ones. Absolutely.
Plus you get like personally invested and you level that territory up, you get a house there. That shit's permanent.
Watching hot oil spill all over these guys, it's pretty funny.
I bought too many traps. I should have bought some potions. I wonder if these traps make it even laggier. Because they have
There's no way it makes it less. It's like the AoEs that really lag me out. When I throw down like a gauntlet Q or a gauntlet snowball, like just the game stops working.
It seems to be a bunch of people think it's like meteors and like like the ice gauntlet AoEs that are causing the biggest brunts of the lag and desync, but I'm not
Maybe that's why we didn't lag the first time, because there weren't as many casters
we didn't
yet.
Have any.
We literally had no casters.
People hadn't realized yet.
This is wild. Boy, don't stand outside of the green circles, though. Holy shit.
I love their Latin names, this guild. What else do we have to talk about when it comes to New World?
What have you guys been enjoying life skill-wise?
That's such a good question, because I'm not sure I am. Cooking. I've been enjoying cooking. That's a lie. I enjoy cooking, which is probably
really surprising that you enjoy cooking so much.
A hot take.
I think cooking is the only life skill that matters before level 60, which is kind of sad. I'm actually pretty disappointed overall with the efficacy of crafting in this game before max. They really trivialize crafting by letting you buy that faction gear every 10 levels. Like, what the fuck is the point of crafting or buying crafted gear?
I can hear Potion make happy noises because you agree.
Yep. Oh my gosh. We just need that faction gear to be a little less worth it.
We need the faction gear to cost 10 times more tokens so that you actually have to grind your ass off to get it, rather than it being literally free for everyone in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then crafting would be an alternative.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, like there needs to be something that you have to actually do. Like maybe like make faction gear tied to like siege in some way or something. I don't know, but like there definitely needs to be something to make it so that crafting is more relevant early. Because like it is actually relevant early, but then it kind of falls off because like you know you need the tools and shit. But like at past that point, like the gear, the crafted gear, isn't as crazy as the gear just getting the fraction breakpoints.
We're actually getting repairs down. If you guys can grab parts and put the walls back up, it's working.
The town boards are absolutely stupid, and I'm glad they keep nerfing them because it's not.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think.
not.
I think they're in a
it's
good
not
spot
look for the
now.
game.
You know.
They definitely toned them down. Yeah, some of the missions I think are still too good, and some of them are completely bad. Like they could definitely use some fine tuning, but it's a lot better than it was. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't get the sense that these devs care a whole lot about the pre-60 gameplay. Like, I think it kind of feels like I can't tell if they believe that players are going to spend a lot of time before max, or if the 1 to 60 experience is, you know, like it is in a lot of MMOs, where it's kind of just there as a placeholder and the real game starts at max. I feel like this game is a bit of being torn in both directions when it comes to that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you can definitely see it, especially with stuff like the siege weapon starting automatically maxed out, and you can't enter the like team deathmatch mode thing until you're level 60 and things like that. Right? But it's one of those things where it's like, if I don't even know if a lot of people are even gonna make it to that point, right? Like, what is called like, and then like once you get there, what is keeping you here? You know?
Yeah, like when it comes to crafting, do you think that devs want people making level 30 gear and level 40 gear, or do you think they just want, because the faction gear, it's like catch-up gear, except you don't even like really fall behind at any point.
Yeah, like there's
when you're
nothing to
leveling.
catch up to. So
Right.
it's like, where's their catch up gear, right?
Like you're catching up to the other people with the catch-up gear.
My big thing was like I'm like 85 weapon and armor smithing for like no reason, just because I did town boards.
That's so good, dude. I love that.
True, yeah.
That seems to. I mean, if your like whole thing, like my whole thing in a lot of games is cooking, so I'm really happy to like be cooking and fed mats, and you know I feel like it's a whole big guild thing put together. But like if my whole thing was being an armor smith, I'd be pretty fucked off. Where it's like, oh okay, well just anybody could be an armor smith. Oh, they're pushing the point.
We're losing.
Desynced on the point.
I'm trying to yank them off.
That's hot.
So the crafting skills all go to 200, right? So maybe having 80 armor smithing or weapon smithing for free doesn't really matter, because how are you going to level armor smithing and weapon smithing? Like cooking, you're leveling food that's relevant throughout the entire game. Like tier 2 food is really good, and then tier 3 food is better, but like you need consumables throughout the whole game. When it comes to gear, especially like level 30 and 40 gear, who's going to be making that? And are you forced to just make a bunch of bad, pointless gear that no one's going to buy in order to level those skills up? Because that doesn't feel good either.
I guess that's fair. Some games have made like the salvaging on lower gear better, right? Like you can get most of your materials back just to craft things over and over again. But they also have like added Azoth in here too. Oh my god, it just popped off. They have like added Azoth too. Like if you wanted to put the crafting materials into these things to make them better, then you can. Like if some level 24 wanted that. But you know, you're 100% right with like faction gear being what it is. It's like, what's the point of any of this?
And as a caveat, that's no slight to this game's like gathering. I think the gathering and like actual resource management is really good. Yeah,
I really like the gathering.
The actual acquisition of resources in this game is really, really good. The problem is more so in that like it's the scaling of the crafted gear isn't really fine-tuned. So it's like the crafted gear for the most part is best in slot at in-game, but up to in-game, it's kind of like, you know, it's like, well, what am I really gaining for pushing this skill until like, you know, deep into the life of the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like part of that's been fixed already, because with the town board being nerfed now, I really feel like that's a something a lot of people aren't going to try out anymore, because like you gotta think town board now will be good up until like 35, 45, something like that. somewhere in that range. And then at that point, you're going to be starting to do corruption portals or group grind spots or raids or resetting quest. There's going to be other opportunities out there to make like really good progress. And I think that's exactly what they need to do. And, it's hard to tell now. And I don't know if we'll know the entire answer until we get to experience the game again. Right. Which I'm actually really excited for. I didn't think I'd be excited for leveling up again, but honestly, like, I actually enjoyed the leveling experience in the game. Thought it was actually really fun.
For sure. Especially once I started like grouping up with people and running portals and like Scorpius and stuff like that. Like, and how Tim was like actually making calls for the rotations, and it made our rotations like our EXP like twice as good. It was really cool.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Dude, that kind of shit, Scorpius, just outdoor dungeons in general is such underrated content. That's something that MMOs forgot how to do after World of Warcraft and instancing. They forgot how to just make the open world fun for large amounts of players. I'm so happy that this game has shit like that. We went and did some of the like level 60 elites, outdoor elite chests and elite bosses yesterday with a group of like 15 or 20. Super fucking fun, dude. Like, you got to stay on your toes the whole time, but you're also like, you feel like you're raiding. It's really good, man. It's all open world. There's a possibility that the other faction will show up and you got to fuck with them. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah, I actually think the Scorpio stuff is just amazing, honestly. Like I didn't think it was gonna be that fun, and then I went over and joined Tim, and Tim had like a 10-man group out there at Scorpius, and it's just the entire time we're just, running around. We had our purple group join us, and we were like, oh, I can't believe they're not flagged up. How could they not be flagged up? And then they joined us and started working with us, and so like it was like a really, really fun experience.
Yeah, once I calmed down and they, worked with us, it was fine. We're losing right now.
Yeah, the healers finally they got it on me and killed me. I can't heal.
Kerr was single-handedly keeping us from losing.
Literally, as soon as I died, all of you guys died. That's crazy.
I'm not dead.
I'm in a load screen. It's taking forever.
That's it.
We lost.
GG.
Did I get MVP again?
You lost the whole war for us, Kerr.
I know, dude. Yeah. I died and we lost. Feels bad.
No,
actually, Zab got MVP. Wow, I was
350 Azoth for that. What the fuck?
Dude, Zab was actually MVP this time. Wow.
Look at how everyone in the top is Aftershock, even though we weren't even shot calling or paying attention to that war.
Doing the fucking podcast.
This literally isn't even our war.
I wasn't. I did so bad. I disconnected so many times. How are the points calculated?
Okay, 9 out of the top 10 players are Aftershock.
I was the only one not top 10. Sweet.
Oh, I definitely wasn't.
Twice. Oh, you weren't. Okay.
Or like way down at the bottom somewhere. Yo, the going back to the Scorpius thing though, I definitely agree. Like, there really hasn't been a game that has done open world group content, where it has like either like meaning or like friendly competition between rival groups. Like, I don't think there's been a game that's done that really closely, and that Scorpius grind was like really refreshing there. It's almost one thing I'm concerned about is I don't feel like they know how to make like what I would call a rotation, right? Like, I was trying to make a rotation out of like air motes, and it just doesn't really exist. You can kind of like hodgepodge one together, but you can't really make an actual rotation. And I don't think they design things to be a rotation like that. So
yeah, I don't think so either.
And I definitely think there's a lot of room. Like, if you go like Great Cleave, they have like this dungeon run, and there's 4 like open world dungeons you can do in a row, but there's no way to tie them together. Like, you literally just have to run all the way back to the beginning and start over again to start farming. And I feel like that's a little strange feeling to players.
Well, it's just the difference between like a BDO style rotation and like a theme park style dungeon. Like that's kind of what I would expect from a game like this, is that you break into the area, you work your way towards the central layer, and you kill the boss and you get the elite chests, right? Like the goal is not to have you sit there running in circles killing the mobs for 8 hours. We just do that because we're neckbeards who played BDO. But most players are not going to sit there and grind for hours and hours in the same spot. They're going to go in, get their chests, and then they're going to, go and do whatever normies do.
Yeah, I like
Go
the
outside or
concept.
some shit.
I like the concept of pushing through the dungeon and then like all through of them and then going out, right? And like taking a break and then resetting if you want to run it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I guess it makes sense though. I mean, for me, I've always been like a grind type of person. But I guess it makes sense that normal people wouldn't do that. So why would you design content around an extreme minority, right?
I actually like that there's a objective at the bottom of these spots that you can push towards, right? Like in other games like BDO, you don't have that. Like you clear out Stars Inn, there's no boss at the end, there's no big reward at the end. I like the fact that you're working your way towards something at the bottom of the dungeon, and there's a big payoff for clearing it all out and making it to the end.
And
Even if it's an outdoor objective.
Even some of their later dungeons, like the first 2 dungeons seem like tank and spank, right? Where it's like one person hold aggro, they don't really have mechanics, everybody just hits them, like throw DPS in them like sponges. But then once you got to the depths, I know Moro didn't actually get to run the depths boss, but
No, I finally got to do it on the fourth attempt. That
Okay,
finally
good.
worked. Yeah.
There were a bunch of times, because I've been kind of like spamming it, where my party would just get wiped 6 or 7 times before we finally did it, because like it actually has some mechanics when you start, like when you get to those higher end dungeons. I haven't been able to do the level 65 one, but
Okay, is that
Well,
for
it's
the depths?
obviously-
Is that because of difficulty, or is that because the fucking mechanics are visible half the time?
yeah, true. That is also a thing. Like you can't see, a lot of times you can't see the fire circle on the
I do
ground. Or
I do
his
think that's
AoE
difficulty to
hand,
some
but
extent, though. I do think that's actually.
I think it is.
Yeah. Now, once you out geared, it's trivialized, right? Like it doesn't matter anymore. I kind of hope they do like a 600 gear score version of some of these. That way you can go back and experience them properly.
Heroics?
Yep.
Heroic
Yes.
dungeons?
And then whenever they
Well-
up the gear score again, just up them again to the next gear score.
I'm sorry, Potion. I want to interrupt real quick. Just about everybody from the opposite side has come into my stream to say, good fight. You guys fought well. We love having you guys here. You guys are some of our favorite people to fight. Stuff like that. A little refreshing change, actually.
Dude, I'm telling you,
Maximus
purple-
guys. Yeah.
Purple is way cooler than yellow. Yeah, those Maximus guys are
You also got to
actually
think as many as
just
Maximus.
normal humans, bro. They're not.
Yeah.
They're so much different than the other people we fight.
There's also some toxic ass corrupt people though that kind of like make.
Yeah,
it
I just
I
blocked
think
them.
I think you guys
Just over
take
that.
corrupt a little too seriously.
I'm
think
just
they're just-
tired of that, man. I'm just tired of that.
They're just teenagers, bro. They're not that
I know.
like. they're
Yeah,
just
but
goofing.
like going around dropping in bombs, I don't care what age you are. That's kind of fucking cringe though.
Hard to
Yeah.
debate that one.
Age
Yeah.
doesn't make like just because you're a teenager dropping the in bomb is just kind of like
you
it's
got
not
me on-
even
you got me
provocative.
there.
It's just cringe, right?
So
Yeah,
just
I
wanted to
like
shout
I
that out.
the
That was
I
very
actually
nice
like
of
the
them.
Minimus Maximus guys, to be honest.
Yeah, anybody coming in and just saying good fight and stuff is, good in my book. That's we've been trying to. I've been a very reformed player lately. I've been trying to have a more positive experience in my MMOs, and it's done well. I just gotta cut out the last pieces of the metastasized cancer, if you will, here a little bit, and block it and ignore it, and just move forward. Yeah, good fight, guys. Good fight. Thank you. We got to get better servers, though, man. That would have been such a better fight if we weren't just like, hey, the point's moving and nobody else is.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. It's weird, dude, because like literally the first wars before people had like mages and things set up, it was so fine. But now that we have all the meteors and stuff, I don't know what it is.
I think it is some specific weapon or attack that's causing the problem. That's my guess. They're probably gonna have to like actually root out what's stressing the servers so much. Because I don't think that sieges are always like this. I don't remember them being like this in the preview either.
Well, it seemed that we were only getting lag when like most of the people were in one congregated point, which kind of points to maybe the I don't know what it points to. I'm not even going to speculate. I don't know enough about that shit to even bring it up outside of that's like when somebody was pushing A little bit, C would clean up, or when there was people in the back line in the fight at the front gate for the main point would clean up, so it's just when it's 100 people fighting over one point is when it just chokes to a stop and crashes the client.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's surprising to me because like I really don't think like I feel like it's like Moreland said, it's like one weapon, right? It's like one weapon. It doesn't get play tested enough, or like wasn't well coded or something.
So, like, how do you guys think the spread has turned out? So now we're like coming to the end of the beta for our server. I know a lot of servers have different diversity and like the factions have different strengths, but the way it's kind of shaken out is we're the only strong green faction. Like most of the other greens have lost their territories. It's just us, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I
'Cause,
was
like,
pretty surprised with the how kind of, not to be toxic, but how ineffective some of these alpha guilds with hundreds and hundreds of members were in terms of taking and
yeah,
keeping territories.
So I've been told that they're just chilling for beta, that they're here and they're learning how to level and they're not really PvPing.
Yeah, I guess.
isn't that a cop out though, bro? Like,
Kinda
what?
weird.
Like, isn't that a cop out though? Especially since a lot of them abuse the relog to reset the faction board to push level
Yeah, when
60.
they're that's a
Like,
good point, man. They're literally exploiting to get 60, but they're just chilling.
yeah. Like, I think
Hmm.
that's just a cop out, bro, honestly.
It may be. I don't know. I mean, definitely people are going to try a lot more hard. Even like we have a lot of people who aren't trying very hard because it's the closed beta also. So I mean, if we have
Yeah,
that, they might have a good number of people also that are like the same. And who knows what their spread is?
Yeah, we're gonna see. I'm interested to see like how things shake out because it turned out to be a little more even than I expected in the sense that like a lot of the Zerg guilds that went green actually didn't even end up being strong. They just got smacked because they couldn't really like fight on equal footing, so they just got smacked in sieges and stuff.
There's
I
some
just-
servers where it's like 90% one color, and then like the second faction has one territory and the third faction has 0 territories.
That's wild.
It's
dude.
Syndicate in most cases, right? Syndicate is the one that's
Yeah,
dominating.
like purple will have the whole map, and then yellow will have 1, and green will have 0, or green will have 1, yellow will have 0.
Even in our server, I think Syndicate has the most players. I just think they're like, I don't know. They don't know what they're doing, bro. I do think Syndicate has the most players on our server, though, because they'll run around like 50 plus people. And it's just common to see that. And it's just random. This happened randomly.
Yeah, they were doing it a lot in the early days. Syndicate's been out there a little bit, actually. So, I don't know. I think so. Those alpha guilds, if you were, they really proved their worth in the alpha for a long time, and so we're really just not seeing much of them in this. So I as much of it is a cop out. They might just be on break for a little bit or whatever, and just trying to see what the new leveling meta is. I'd get that.
I
don't
think
know,
there's
though.
a lot of guilds that are very competitive when there's little competition. And once the full, population of the game comes in for something like this, or, even more for the launch,
That could be.
they are no longer a big fish in a small pond.
Well,
That could be.
We've seen that a lot where people like playing and they're like, "Oh, this seems so good. It's the best game ever." And then as soon as they hit some real competition, they're out. Right? They're out. They're like, "Oh,
Yep.
time to go to the next game. This game sucks."
Yeah,
And I feel like that was the opposite for us. I feel like if we had a little more PvP competition and activity, like we'd probably be better.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of people were just hungry for it 24/7.
I mean,
Not
I'm-
even 24/7. Like it kind of sucks that the wars are so laggy right now, because we'd be able to glean so much more information and kind of make some sheets and get some real data. But unfortunately, we're just not quite there with the server stability. At least the slow stacking's over. Maybe the servers just need a good restart or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's a bigger problem than that, but I think we would perform better if we had more competition.
I mean, I'm still happy with the way we perform. Like, we've just been smacking people.
We've been
Like,
getting better and better every time. Every single time we get markedly better. So that's what I'm concerned about. That's what I'd like to see.
I just hope that the launch. I know it's not going to go good because no MMO really has a smooth launch, but I don't know. I'm curious to see because it's kind of like honestly like this alpha or this beta isn't going to mean a whole lot, especially with them nerfing town boards, and then like they're probably going to do some adjustments to like PvE EXP, or hopefully they do. It's going to be like it's kind of like we're getting our feet wet a little bit, but like nothing was really 100% figured out, right? Because there's so
You
many
think
squeaky
so?
changes.
I feel like I've got everything from 1 to 60 figured out after playing this.
Yeah, the only thing
so
I'm working on right now
Kinda,
is
maybe.
I'm just trying to figure out how to do the in-game crafting stuff. My goal is to get one in-game crafting piece of gear at 600. Just like
One of my big gripes, and like the reason that I know Scorpius so well is how much time we spent at Scorpius in preview, and it was genuinely fun to do so. But man, the time that we spent there it wasn't worth it at all. Like I'm at Paraville right now, and it is way more worth being at Paraville than it is at Scorpius with a group. So I think PvE needs a buff substantially, actually.
I was hoping for PvE buffs rather than town board nerfs, but
Yeah, I was too.
yeah,
It's gonna be interesting to see because like I don't know. So because I've seen this like this thing parroted where it's like, oh well, it's like this so that they could have people level faster in the beta. But honestly, I don't.
yeah, there's
think
just
so,
no way.
dude.
No, that's absolutely
Mm-mm.
not the case.
I think
This
they're
is
just
good
going in
launch rates.
blind. Yeah.
Yeah. They wouldn't be nerfing town board XP multiple times if this was boosted for beta rates. That doesn't make any sense at all.
and like I also think that the majority of the game is leveling. Like I'd say probably 70% of the game is just leveling to 60, and then the other 30% is like gearing out. And then if you want to, you can like really tweak out your build with like a super hardcore build or something, right? But that's not really what most people will do. And that entire experience is around maybe 200 hours. So I don't think it's a bad thing making that experience longer, long as it can be enjoyed. And there's plenty. I think there's plenty
sure.
of dungeons and like PvP content and stuff like that they can enjoy in between there, long as they do a good job balancing it.
Yeah, and again, I like the concept of like running the dungeons and trying to grind for like a really rare item, right? Like pushing for these like super low drop rate items, and things like that. But it's kind of like during the beta, it felt like it was a waste of time because you doing dungeons and stuff like that, for a day, instantly other people that spam town boards, they gained 7 levels, right, in the span of like
Yeah.
6 hours.
Yeah.
So hopefully they do some kind of reorganization and like pushing the numbers around a little bit, right?
The town board got nerfed by around 50%. It's like 40-50%, and that is, I think, a very high number, and it makes a lot of other things like the 25 dungeon is actually kind of viable now. Like it, before the dungeon was around 30% of the EXP of a town board, so now you're only going to be losing like maybe 20% EXP going to the dungeon, and it's probably totally worth it because like you're going to be getting good gear there. You're going to be getting a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, you can get named items there that last you for a while.
Yeah, true.
And I think that it's very possible that it's in a very good spot right now, but I don't know if we can see it because we've already experienced all that content in the wrong way. And so I don't think we'll know unless we want to make a brand new character and level it up next couple of days,
Well, I mean, we won't know now, but we'll know later. I think the town board's being nerfed so hard. I think they're still going to have their spot, especially early game when you're just like turning in loot or turning in
that's
rocks
absolutely
and
what I'm
stuff
going to do
like
early
that.
game.
Yeah. And then it'll get you set up for whatever crafting you're doing later and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I kind of like having a little bit of time here because I could use it to kind of just get all of us sorted, with maybe some like internal guides and shit where we can just all kind of be on the same page. We've learned a lot in the past 7 days, 5 days even, right? And I think having a week or two to kind of sort through it and pick our 100 members and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot to do in this off time, and even just at the very least, just kind of meditate on what our experience was and how we're going to, kind of maybe share best practices and stuff so we can all be successful moving forward.
Do you guys
in
think there's a
mentality and culture.
chance that they extend it?
Oh God, I hope so.
Nope.
I'd like one more week.
I think that if their goal is to address these very tiny bounce changes, I think they probably extend it by a week. But I don't
Yeah.
think that's their goal. I think they have way bigger fish to fry, and internally, that they probably need that month to take and do it. And so I feel like they're going to say this is close enough to what we need for launch, and we're going to work on our bigger issues for the next month.
I just don't think they can
that.
delay again, especially with now that they've sold all these pre-orders and the game's delayed so many times. It's one of those things where the money's going to talk, right? Like, regardless of if the game needs more time, they're going to release it unlaunched. I just don't see any way that it gets pushed back this close.
No, just extend the beta. I don't think it's going to get pushed back. I think I'm hoping they extend the beta though.
I mean, it would be. I think
Yeah,
it'd be pretty
maybe.
smart because, like imagine if they didn't do this beta and it just got released August 31st with all of these issues on launch. Like, I obviously they haven't fixed big stuff, and there's stuff that shouldn't be issues. But if they didn't do weren't able to do any of this rebalancing during this beta period, like the game would be in a completely different landscape, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
True.
So, especially with them being willing to do a maintenance almost every day at this point, like I think they could make a lot of headway if they just extended for a week.
I think
they
they'd fix a lot of shit in a week, man, and we'd have a lot more fun.
What do they still need to learn over the next week, other than maybe Outpost Rush? What do you think they'd get from doing that?
I think they need to take a bigger look at sieges. Like, they need to take a big look. I don't know if it's go down by different abilities and see the impact that different abilities having on the net code and things like that, like server stability. But I think they need to hit that pretty hard because, like you said, right, like the main draw of the game is faction based taking over territories. And if your main appeal is like having crazy huge desync issues causing people to lose their territories where it takes weeks to build them up to the best crafting tables and things like that, I think that could be the biggest thing that's going to help them is like trying to figure out what is this like what's causing this server issues and sieges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've already kind of recently lived through, them not paying attention to. So, that would be. I think that and the UI bugs. I think testing, having live tests because everybody's kind of getting different UI bugs and stuff like that. I think getting the polish up and running while the game's up and running is probably the best way to test it. Probably like most things, you could probably apply that to anything. I'm sure they want some time to not deal with players and stuff like that, but I'd like to see one more week of this.
The one thing for me that is the biggest issue is I think the faction gear and the bouncing of like the town missions like fishing aren't balanced correctly, and like crafting, right? Like the viability of crafting at lower tier levels so that you can get that. I think they can really need to tweak those numbers a little bit for like up to like maybe star metal tools. That way, at least those are viable options, and not just getting crushed by some other activity in the game. Especially faction boards, especially the faction boards.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what they're gonna do with the faction gear. Like,
I mean, the simple answer is just increase the cost by a lot. If you want to do a complicated fix, I think you make it cosmetic instead, and you figure out another better long-term thing to be in there.
I wish it wasn't in the game.
They should remove it from the game completely.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Since they won't do that, I think the next best like last-minute fix would be to just drastically increase the cost.
Yeah,
and the fact that you can like make it whatever stats you want to, that's what makes it so good.
It's absurd. It completely trivializes all the other progression in the game. Like, the faction gear literally feels like the catch-up gear that gets added a year and a half into the game, except it's already in the game on launch. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it'd be so much harder to pull off my build without faction gear. I'm sure it's true for just about everybody else, but I just feel so much more viable because it exists.
And it's boring too. Like, everyone's wearing the same gear. Everybody looks the same. Like, it's just the whole part of the economy that people would otherwise be, getting into for stats and for gear and everything else is just all trivialized by this faction gear.
Yep. I mean, for me, I'm currently 527 gear score. And I don't have any faction gear. I just wanted to see what the game was like without it because I just don't like it. And it's been like a slog. And then other people who are getting the faction gear already have like better gear than me. you know, and it's just kind of crazy.
It's not possible to outgear someone in faction gear and like before 60. It's literally not possible. By the time you get better gear than them, you've out leveled that bracket, you know?
Yeah.
And then even once you get 60, like, can we talk about their arbitrary system for being able to drop higher gear score?
Bro, the snapshotting, I
Like,
guess
it's
that's
so
some more
weird,
Destiny 2
dude.
shit.
Yep.
That is
It's the very Destiny 2.
awful.
It's like, why is that a thing in an MMO where it's like it remembers the highest piece of gear that you have equipped, and like you can't drop better gear until you start equipping better gear. But then even then, there's like apparently some weird stuff that happens post level 60 where it's like the more drops you loot, you start getting better drops as
Yeah,
time
it like
goes on.
slowly increases your drop potential or something, and it's all hidden, right? Like
Yeah.
if they showed you, I don't think it would be that annoying because that would be like another stat that you could progress. You could see like your potential gear drops going up as you got them, and you would actually feel satisfied, right? You'd be like, oh, my potential gear just went from 505 to 510. Like I'm gonna get 510s now, and you could feel that, you could see it, and you'd be happy about that. But it's all just hidden and confusing, and people who don't know about that system, which is 99% of players, are at a disadvantage for no reason whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And I like the good thing about it is it guarantees that you're going to have everyone has the standard leveling progression, and there's no way to cheese it, like going to like level 60 mobs and like killing them and then getting
there
the
is
best
a way to cheese it though. You know how to cheese it?
someone trading you gear.
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
just gives you high
Yeah.
level gear.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you
Someone-
just skip it. Like
Someone
that's
gives
what I
you
mean
gear and
by
lets
it.
you equip it.
Imagine how big of an advantage that's going to be for us on launch versus people who don't know that. They're gonna be weeks behind for no reason, for no fault
Yep.
of their own.
We're just gonna have a few guys push up to top content and like get some 600 helmet, and then hair you get that, and this will feed people gear in order to get them their gear score level up.
100% we will. Yeah.
Yeah. And people are gonna be wondering like, well, how do you guys also gear? It's like, well, this guy had an extra piece of gear and we traded it
Because
off.
Aftershock wins again. That's why.
It's a really, really weird system, dude. I don't even know.
It
it's
works
so
really
odd.
well. You gotta think like Destiny does not have trading, so you can't abuse that in Destiny. And then also in Destiny, like the game's progression, you basically level up like super quick. It's not like a long leveling process. It's very short. You get like 5 levels. I don't remember even leveling in the past. Like I don't know, maybe they didn't remove that. But like it's like the leveling process is basically non-existent. So the way they've designed the game around Destiny, they didn't really understand the systems that they were trying to mess with, and the reasons they were implemented into Destiny. So I feel strange anyway. I definitely think it needs some looking at.
Yeah, like it's kind of odd. I just feel like, wouldn't it be better if like higher level mobs dropped higher tier shit and it wasn't
Whoa.
some
What a weird
scaling?
idea.
Well, I think that the way they have the game scaled is you can just get a 60-man party and just run in there and crush any content, right, in open world. And so I think that's
Yeah,
the
true.
concern. Like I could see maybe doing something like that with dungeons, where you have dungeons, but then the same thing is true. It's just a lot slower because then you have someone who's high geared carry someone who's low geared. So I mean I think the solution to this is probably just make it where trading gear doesn't get snapshotted, and then show your snapshotted gear, right? Show that like as a stat when you press your tab and see your gear. There should be like another stat in there at the bottom. It says your current.
Why does it need to be something that's based on the gear score of stuff you've already got? Like, why can't it just be your character has like a discovery stat that levels up post 60? And the more stuff you kill, the higher your discovery gets, and the higher your discovery gets, the better drops you can find. It's it's really that easy, right? Why does it have to be this weird convoluted thing where like you have to pick up pieces and equip them to like trick the game into thinking that your gear is better than it is? Like just give the player a discovery stat, put it on their character screen, and teach them how to raise it through gameplay. Hello?
Yeah. I mean, what's an easy solution that they can do though? Because right now they probably don't have the time to implement that. Right? Like
you can implement that in seconds, dude. Like the system's already there. You
Just
already
make it visible, right?
You literally already have a discovery stat. It's just the way it accumulates makes no sense. right? All they have to do is just like show the stat that's already in the game, and then make that tied to, you know, your kills post 60, or like the quality of your kills, or like, you know, maybe it only goes up when you're killing elites, or it only goes up when you're killing 65s, or, you know, in order to get it past a certain threshold, you have to kill something that's more difficult. Like
killing unique bosses raises it.
There's no way that would take more than a day to implement.
You could be like race.
Yeah, you could have, of course, you could have like,
awesome.
You get 1 point for killing a regular level 65 mob. You get 3 points for killing an elite 65. You get 20 points for killing a 65 boss. Like, you know, and that could all be in the game and explained, and people could see different avenues of progression and choose what they want. Like, why hide it? The player doesn't even get to feel their progress if you hide it. They don't even know that the system exists.
And like we said, heaven forbid if you don't have like a big group of people like we do that can just like, figure this shit out, and you're just like going into the game, like playing the game blind. I would like drive myself crazy trying to figure out like, why am I killing something higher level, but it's giving me the same gear? It's like, like, what if I like this level 26 shield because it looks good? Well, if I don't equip a better shield, I can't drop better shields to see what the other ones look like. Like, it's a weird system, right? I don't know. We'll see if they do that, but yeah, I hope they do extend it by a week. I think they could get a lot done, honestly, if they try.
I tell you what, man, not to shift gears here a little bit, but we have assembled a pretty fun and interesting dynamic group of people. I think a large part of the reason I've had fun is because of the homies that we're playing with. It's been really interesting. You know, it's such a hodgepodge of like maybe 7 or 8 different communities or friends or whatever, all kind of slammed together. And I think the only reason we really get on each other's nerves is because we've been spending so much time with each other. But outside of that, it's been, a lot of different personalities and a lot of surprises that can accomplish a lot. And it's been super rewarding for me to just kind of meet a bunch of new people.
It's honestly been a long time since I've wanted to sit in a Discord full of people and just like chat, shoot
right?
shit. Right. Like a lot of times it's like, fuck. Even got to the point where like I was like in the Discord so much playing New World with the boys that like my girlfriend just like pulled up a chair and was like, so who the fuck is Tim Allen? And she's just like, she's like, I hear him screaming across the apartment. Like, which one is Tim? So it was kind of hilarious. So she'd just sit there and like listen and shoot the shit. It was like,
nice girlfriend flex, bro.
My bad, dude. Hey, dude, yours literally brings you food all the fucking time. All right, don't start with the flex.
Know what you're talking about?
Sure, bud.
Marlon's girlfriend's awesome.
It's DoorDash.
She's super funny.
In-house DoorDash.
I put in the instructions. My door's unlocked. Walk inside and hand the
food to me. Sure.
See, do that in Florida. That'd be some content right there.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I still haven't 100% decided what I want to do on the launch of the game. I
can't believe you're considering not healing, dude.
Yeah.
Do you want us to lose? Like, why do you want us to lose, Kerr?
I mean, dude, I will heal, but like with the whole weird leveling system, I don't even know if I want to push levels on launch. I think I want to more focus on crafting to funnel like gold into the guild.
Yep. True, dude. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Who gives a fuck about leveling?
Like literally, if what's the point in me pushing levels super hard and trying to get better gear if I literally just fight someone 20 levels higher than me and I'll do % of their HP as damage anyway? So it's like
I do exactly the same amount of like someone's health bar at 55 that I did at 35. Like none of my gear progression has mattered at all. I go into a big clump of people. I hit them for 15% of their health. It's not different at all. Like, fuck it, bro. I'm just gonna craft, and the levels will come when they come.
So I think I'm gonna pick a skill and try to push it to 200. We'll see. I'm not sure which one yet. I'm gonna have to like talk to Nomi and the other guys to kind of like figure out what needs to be pushed or who it like. We don't have enough people pushing this skill, and just kind of like bang it out, have some fun along the way. Get the faction gear because it's fucking broken anyway, and you don't have to really like.
I really hope they address that.
Same, dude.
I feel like it's the last big issue for like progression in the game right now. And I gotta say, I've been happy. They've been happy to nerf things, and most companies are really afraid to nerf because they don't like the backlash. And there's like, nah, this nerf that, nerf this, nerf that also, nerf everything. And I don't mean it's one or two extremes, it feels like, but I actually it's refreshing coming from BDO where they literally refused to nerf anything for literally years.
Yeah, it's definitely been weird to see them really willing to push patches every day. It's just I hope they listen to the right information and the right people.
Absolutely.
Well, so
right
far,
reasons.
so far, so good, right? They haven't been like,
yeah, they haven't been way off
anything
base,
earth shattering. It's been like, hey, this is like, again, I still think they're playing it safe. They haven't made any like big hard decisions. It's just like, hey, this is completely broken. They even came out and said like people who are exploiting the downboards, like you got away with it this time, but live you're gonna get fucking yeeted. So
Yeah.
I like to see that too. That was nice.
I mean,
I
it's
can't
also
wait
one
for
of
the first big ban wave, dude.
Right?
I
The first
agree.
big ban wave was people being disruptive. So many people got fucking banned. I didn't talk for like 3 days after I got banned.
This is the most reformed I've ever seen Tim. Like,
True.
by far. It's actually
Kind of
insane.
crazy.
Well, I really want this to work. I really want this to be a long-term thing. I don't expect you guys to be like in New World every single day, but I expect to hit you guys up and be like, hey, so like next Saturday is like super important. If you guys want to dust off the New World for a few days, that'd be really cool.
Definitely gonna
this
be at the
game-
sieges,
content
dude.
alert.
Yeah, if they just fix the lag in Siege, I will siege in this game for years, right? Like, the sieging in this game is way better than Node Wars and BDO, and I did that for a long ass time. So if they just fix the sieging, even if I'm not really, even if my gear's maxed out and I don't really have much to do in between content patches, I'll definitely log into this game just in PvP. Like, the combat is really that good.
Yeah, I really want to get better at 1vxing. I want to get a good like bruiser build in 1vx, and that be like my first PvP montage is to now in 1vxing.
I just really like that you feel the PvP is at the point where it's like it feels like one person can actually have huge impact, right? Like,
You
and
can
that's
see it. You see
really
it in the
good.
numbers at the end of these
yeah.
sieges.
100%.
Like, I like that if one, like, even though different, a lot of people have the exact same build, if you're playing your build smarter and you're better with your positioning and you like know what's going to happen and you're like following calls and you're more strategic with things, you can massively outperform people that are doing the exact same thing you are, right? So, and that's nice. Like, it feels like you have impact on the battle. So I really hope they figure out the server issues, because I agree, like, I could see it where even if there's no content coming out and I don't feel like playing New World every day, I mean, shit, dude, I'd hop on the Siege. We know it's going to be 30 minutes regardless at max. So it's like,
it's not a
hey,
huge commitment, right?
exactly. It's not like a massive commitment. Hop on 30 minutes, shoot the shit with the boys, have a good Siege, maybe hang out in comms a little bit after, and then, like, do your thing. I think it's good.
One thing I was curious about to get your guys' input on was actually, since they're copying Destiny 2 really hard, I think they're probably going to be copying Destiny 2's monetization. And what do you guys think about like a season pass like every 3 months and like one big update at the end, once a year or something like that? How do you think that would match the content of the game? Do you think that'd be good, or do you think that'd be bad? Like,
What do you mean season pass?
In Destiny, what they do is they do a season pass. They do like a really light dusting of content, and then it basically holds people for like 3 months. It gives you like 3 months of stuff to do in the game. And then basically
But
for the season,
what does that mean? You talking about like they're selling
Like a battle
items?
pass?
yeah, it's like a
basically?
battle pass. You pay like $15 for it, and it gives you access to the new content, and all the old content is still available.
So you're saying when they do like because there's new regions obviously coming out post launch. When they do a new region, they charge people $15 to access those regions.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be that severe. I kind of feel like it'd probably be something like you can't craft the new items. You can go and acquire new items, but you can't craft them or something. I don't think they're going to lock people out of like.
I don't think they can do anything like that, man. I think they have to, if they set the precedent that the game's buy to play, I feel like they have to come out and state like.
They need to put a
I think
sub
people
on this game, dude.
People would flip out, right? Like if they had the expectation that they can just buy this game and play it, and then a few months from now they're like, "Oh no, you got to pay extra for this new thing." Like I don't think people would be down for that at all.
They really need to put a sub on this game.
It's too late though. It's not.
I mean, I kind of
there's
like the way
no
they're
way they put
currently
a sub on
doing
this
it.
game in the next 3 weeks, right? Just
I kind of like the way they've been currently doing it. They've been like phasing in and out different things in the shop where they'll like add a costume temporarily for a couple days. Then they added in like different colored dyes for your armors and gear and things. And then they took them out and then they added in different colors and then they added in cosmetics for your house and shit. Like I like their current method. It's just more so I don't know if that's gonna be what they want to like the amount of money and income that they want, right?
I think the
So-
fall off in this game is going to be huge. I think they're really going to need to come up with a value pack or a battle pass or something very quickly, so the diehards can keep it propped up until
what
it
would the
pops
battle
off again.
pass have though? Like you get gear for hitting those
Cosmetics.
objectives. You
You
get
get cosmetics, I guess, maybe, or like I don't know how they would do it. It's be really weird because like you obviously don't want it to be tied to something like Azoth because at that point makes it 100% mandatory.
Well,
if you make it
Asmongold
tied
already
to
made it so they
something.
can't. So
One thing that what Destiny does is they basically on the battle pass you get EXP bonuses, and so you get 10, I think it's 10% EXP bonus, and you get that like a couple times, so it ends up being like around 30% by the time you're done with the battle pass. But you don't get that unless you've played the game and worked your way through the battle pass. The way you make progress is by doing anything in the game. Like literally, if you gather in the game, you grind in the game, you do anything in the game, it gives you progress on the battle pass. So I don't think it's a really healthy system. Ultimately, I would hope that they just use the cash shop and then do cosmetic funding. But I don't think it's going to be enough money probably to satisfy Amazon's hunger for cash.
Especially like Tim said with the fall off, because obviously there's like a big spike. Like they've probably made a shit ton of money off of just selling the game for the $40 for the pre-order, like in the last whatever, right? But like I don't know, what do you do that's not gonna completely fuck the game's economy / the feel of the / like adding pay to win shit and like irking your player base, but still having money? I don't know how.
I don't think they know, which is kind of spooky, right? Because that means it can go in a lot of different directions. The communications that they've had about monetization have been very kind of weird and vague and like missing the point and very tone deaf to what people actually want. So I'm a little bit worried about it, but they've at least gone out of their way to say they're not going to sell any pay to win shit in the first 6 months. So, I mean, we'll see if this game even lasts more than 6 months anyways.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm literally just going in it with the expectation of 3 to 4 months of like really fun until we hit like the wall of having done most things and leveled up everything. And then it's like, okay, the ball is in Amazon's court. Like, what are they going to do to add some longevity? I think it's good to go into it with tame expectations, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
And again, like obviously they have the workings there to make it like something like amazing, like groundbreaking, but they got some work and it's going to be on them because they can do it, but they just have to make the right decisions, right?
God, this faction gear really does make me want to buy a cash shop skin though. Maybe that's the goal, bro. Make this gear so good that everyone has it and so ugly that everyone has to buy a costume.
Dude, I dyed mine white, pure white, and it looks so good.
Does it though?
Well,
Does
it looks
look
better
good?
than being a walking turd.
What are you guys gonna play in the couple weeks that the game's off?
Well, I've been
Final Fantasy 14.
I'm going to be playing some BDO. I haven't been streaming a whole lot because my schedule's been all over the place. I almost gonna get the music album done, but going to be jumping into BDO and probably be streaming super hard on that, trying to get some of my goals done in that game before the launch of New World, because that way I can go hard in New World again.
Yeah, I wanna run the dungeon with Potion next week and kind of just get a feel for it and see like how fun it is, because I've heard a little bit of people on both sides. Other than that, I was pushing Final Fantasy pretty hard to try to catch up to Morrowind so we could do some blind content and runs together.
Yeah, well, that's already know.
And I beat AAR, I think it is, A Realm Reborn, ARR.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I, 52? Something like
That's all
that.
you need. Yeah, level 50 is all
Yeah.
you need to do this stuff we're doing.
So that's gonna be fun. Probably goof around on some FF14, maybe some BDO stuff. I don't know. BDO is kind of weird, where it's like I hop on, do some PvP, and I skirt out because I don't really have anything else to like go for. Right? Like I got my 2 pin black stars, and that's like what I wanted. Everything else, it's like if I'm pushing gear, what am I pushing gear for? Right? To run more circles. So we'll see. I'm just gonna bounce around, play some different stuff, whatever I feel at the time. I kind of like this. Just play what I want when I want, instead of committing to a single game. Right?
I saw somebody's stream title was the push to C20 armor starts, and I'm like,
Yikes!
I
yeah,
got those C20 boots. I need to get C20 gloves. That's my next goal.
yeah, definitely, dude, definitely got to get that.
It's-
I'm gonna try out GTA 5 RP.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to
Are you
it.
gonna play with these Maximus Minimus guys?
I don't. So I know a guy that maybe, but I know a guy that one of the guys in the guild he was PUBG from Arsha. He like got involved in an RP server, and it's super populated. It's got like 5,000 or 7,000 people in the Discord. So he said that he give me the crash course and try out a couple different characters and stuff like that. So I'd give like I wouldn't have to just go in cold and blind and make a bunch of mistakes and ruin whatever, and actually be able to figure it out. And I figured that'd be a good practice for my reformed behavior too. So
They will ban you in a heartbeat on the RP servers, dude.
I
Even
know.
for like not even crazy shit. They are very, very snowflakey.
So he's going to give me a big crash course on what to do, what not to do, stuff like that. And I think I'm going to do that and Dark Souls. I want to keep going back through my Dark Souls games.
Oh yeah, Dark Souls.
So I'm probably 80% of the way through Dark Souls 1. This has been my biggest break since I started, so I'm a little worried going back to it.
You
But
still have to do Redacted.
if you say so. I don't. Oh yeah, Redacted. Got it. So I think Sif was like the last big boss that I did, but I don't know how that affects my progression.
Big
So-
boss.
I honestly thought, if you told me a week ago that Tim was going to do RP and was not going to get banned, I would never believe you. But after seeing Tim get banned in New World and how he's reformed himself, like, I think it's possible, actually. I think it's possible you could actually do
Dude,
it.
I felt so bad being banned. I felt so fucking bad. I felt like such a fucking asshole. And I just had to, I made all these plans for a super long stream and all this shit, and I just had to turn it all off. It was just all gone. And I'm like, how about I just say good fight and stop being a cunt 24/7?
Wow.
What the hell? Yo, who is this and where's Tim? Does he got a twin?
And I've been having more fun with it. I mean, there's points where I really wish I could pull out the old stuff, but I'm sure there's going to be times for it too, right? Stuff rears its head, but for the most part,
Oh
having
yeah,
people
some
come
of the
and
people we're fighting in this game are begging to be shit talked. Like they'll like Mr. Tummyache. People like that absolutely open themselves up for
Bro,
like justifiable ribbing. So
Well, we're gonna have a conversation about that in Officer Chat to see how we want to handle that, and if we want to goat him, I can goat him.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting for an opportunity for someone to ask me to craft something. I'd be like, my stomach's feeling bad.
bro, the Tummyache thing is going to be a meme for months on launch.
Okay, so
Like,
for context for everybody else, there's another guild on the server who, I guess he didn't like the way I gave an honest feedback that I wasn't impressed with his shot calling or the meta that he ran. Full disclosure, I didn't fully understand what was going on, and so ever since
is
then,
that what started all this?
I'd assume so. Ever since then, he's just been the saltiest little boy because I was like, not really down for he was just cackling every time he threw out 40 grav wells.
Is that
And
the
so-
guy they were making fun of his girlfriend in the background on the stream?
Yeah,
the other day?
I was gonna leave that
Ah.
alone. So I was just like, he was streaming it, and like that's they're just 40 grav wells, and he's cackling over and over again. I'm like, well, let's not do that. And I guess I said it when I was streaming, or somebody else was streaming, whatever. And so ever since then, I've just gotten salty vibes from it, and then I start getting clips about it too. So I just, all I keep saying is talking about his cackling. And that's all I've ever really said about it.
I didn't know it had anything to do with you talking about
It
his
may
shot
not.
calling.
It may not, but that's the only thing I've done that would spur anything along. But anyway, so this clip was him going, "Yeah, I would really like to take that territory. Yeah, take it from Tim. Yeah, that'd be cool." And then he's like, "But I had a really bad stomach ache, and I had to rest, and man, that took a lot out of me. And there's only," and he like looks over to his left. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days left of beta. I don't know. And so he like blamed that there's a week left and he had a tummy ache to not PvP us, which is probably
that's
fine because the
funny.
servers are so bad. I don't think we could possibly fucking.
That's actually not even that funny. I thought he was making that joke because you like chugged the jar of pickle juice and like took the shot of hot sauce, and he was being witty about you like getting sick.
There's no wit.
Never mind, dude. What the fuck?
No.
I literally shit my brains out and drop decks, dude. Like there was no like me taking a break or anything. We were dropping decks as I was just like pickle juicing my brains out. So
yeah, that guy's
that wouldn't even make
cringe.
sense.
Never
Plus
mind.
$700
giving
is
him too much
$700.
credit.
Absolutely. So
Way
that's
too
kind
much
of the
credit.
context of that, yeah. But I mean, if we want to go to him into dropping on us, I'll make a command of that clip and just go to town.
Dude, please, bro. I just want to frag on people, dude. I just want us to frag on people more.
I'd be more inclined to do it if the servers would handle it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like,
I don't think I really want to go to
someone's
anybody.
ego is going to get boosted for just 900 ping lagging into a capture point. Then it's not as satisfying.
Yeah, so I think I'd rather just let him have his tummy ache, and we'll catch him for live.
Do we know, like, so we are coming back to Atlantis, or are we going to go to somewhere else? Like, are we going to take a poll or something?
I'm going to have to pray on it, and then we'll go from there.
I feel like this is a pretty good, like, the population here was decent. The actual server itself, though, like the server, the latency is not fucking good. And I don't feel like it's this bad on other servers.
We did pick like the second busiest server in the,
and it literally is the only word on the server list that's an actual word. Like all the other them are like weird, you know what I'm saying? Like random shit.
Does that make a difference for you?
Yeah, because it's like, oh, if someone's looking through the server list and they can't read any of the shits there, they're gonna see Atlantis and click Atlantis because it's the actual fucking word, that is. Right? I mean, literally, look at the server list. None of the other stuff is like words.
I think our server is really good. It's a healthy mix of like RP, sweaty PvP, and like casual PvEers who like doing PvP also. Like it's just a really good mixture of people and healthy. Like it really just comes down to the servers being garbage. It's really the only thing. And I don't know if we pick another server, we can guarantee we're not going to get the same thing again.
Yeah, to me, it may be the devil. You know what I mean. So
yeah.
I think it's something that leadership should have a conversation about. I don't think taking a poll will give us any usable information.
Yeah, like again, like I agree. I definitely think that the way the servers shaked out has been good because like I was expecting it to be a green tide and green to just overtake everything, but honestly, we're the only green faction that's really been doing anything. All the other ones
way different if Envious was fighting. They're not really fighting.
They're trying.
Are they?
Yeah, they just haven't been able to take anything. They've done sieges.
Well, and also we just had like siege actually properly fixed. We've had like I think 5 wars that couldn't get declared because of the bug, and so having that fixed now, I think we might see a major shift in things.
Are we the green guild with the most efficacy here? Are we just like holding it up? I feel like we're just grinding.
Yeah, we actually
like, look on the map. Look at the map. There's only one other green guild that has a faction other than us, and we have 2.
Oh shit, you're right.
Like literally, yeah, all the green's gone. They just got spashed. Like they're just not there.
And we even tried to help them with that, but it was only like 10 or 15 of us every time.
Yeah, we showed up to their fights. I think we had, was it in that last one we had like almost 20 or something?
Dude, if these guys do missions in Morningdale for the territory and they're happy about taking that, I'm gonna laugh pretty hard. Just doing those missions. I did one set of it, and like by the time I got to the missions, I was like, ooh, maybe we can do rifts like in the middle of this, and then by the time we ran back, I'm like, fuck this, I'm going to Scorpio. Like,
Dude,
just
that's
absolutely
talking about the
not.
biggest thing that needs to be changed until launch. Those faction missions, bro. I actually think that those faction missions are a significant risk of the game dying. Like that
Mhm.
one piece of content is a huge part of the reason why this game might not last. People don't want to do 6 hours of PvE every time they want to drop a siege. It's just so incredibly ridiculous that is the barrier. I don't know why they can't just tag the like the progress bar to sieging a territory to like a castle or something, like, you know, to one of the forts that you can capture and just have it go up the longer you hold it. Like there's so many better solutions to that than forcing people to fucking kill 3 wolves that don't even respawn for hours and hours and hours. Like that part of the game, I don't know, man. It feels too late. Like it feels too close to launch. But holy fuck, that needs to change.
I think that's
So I
something
don't
that
want to
could
sound like
definitely.
potion.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to sound like potion shop, but I think if just for launch, right? Like you said, it's too late to change it. Just for launch, if they balance it a little bit, like maybe make it twice as it moves bar twice or 3 times as much to do the missions. That would be fine. You know, to invite some more PvP. They're boring, but if you can see the bar physically move with a group of like 20 or 30, like, okay, with 20 or 30, it'll take us 2 or 3 hours. Fine, whatever. You know, and if you had a group of 100, it'd just be done in an hour. So I think if they changed it from a 7 to 8 hour chore, you know, to a 2 to 3 hour chore, it's still a chore, but you are flagged up in the open world for PvP.
Yeah. Well, one thing
And
I
if you
agree.
value, like if it was Everfall, we'd probably have just like people taking a look all the time, ping the Discord. We got people here, let's get out. But we've got like kind of shitty off the map, not shitty, but they just, people haven't gotten to that part of the game yet. Actually, one of our territories is one of the best, but
Yeah, I think like
Go ahead.
honestly, like one of the things that's really important here is like people put a lot of effort and time into making sure that these regions are getting upgraded with the materials, and the more
Mhm.
you put in, the harder it should be to siege the area, right? And like I don't think they need to make it easier to take the area. It needs to be more fun to take the area, and like I think the way it
Yes.
is on launch should probably stay the way it is right now for launch, and then they need to start planning today what they're going to fix it and make something more fun tomorrow, right? Because they're definitely going to be able to get something in the game that's better and more fun by launch. That's just not going to happen. But they need to start
Well
planning
said.
today for something that's way more fun, like every 4 hours the castle becomes available for PvP. If you control a castle, you get 20% on your progress bar, or like you get 10% on your progress bar, something like that. I like something that replaces this mundaneness in the future for sure.
Like war is so short. Like it's a 30-minute war, right? Like why not just have your territories be vulnerable for like your war window instead of being 30 minutes is 2 hours. And if you've got, you know, a war, then your territory is vulnerable for an hour and a half or something, or an hour, or whatever the case is, or it's vulnerable an hour a day, you know, and use the scheduling system that's already in the game. And so people can go in there and stand on that castle that's already in the game, use the scheduling system that's already in there. Hey, everybody show up on, you know, 3 to 5 days a week or whatever the scheduling system makes it that territory is vulnerable for, and hold the fort outside of the 50v50.
So, well, like for me, like I just want to identify the problem, and then they have amazing creators that they're paying lots of money to be able to come up with good ideas, right? And maybe they can't come up with good ideas. That we'll have to see. But like
we just came up
identifying
with
the problem that it is, needs to be more fun than it currently is, and the current solution is not fun. And then that's what they need to know, and then they can come up with what they think is a more fun solution. And then all it takes is some running them, right? Hey, let's just go run
I'm
these.
so proud of you.
Let's just go run these for like a couple hours, and then developers are like, oh, that's not fun, and then that's something they can just easily play test and figure out, right? So I'm looking forward to it, though. I think the game, like if they fix faction gear, if they like look at like making early game crafting a little bit more viable, and what was the other thing we said? There was one more thing this thing you look at. I can't remember what it is.
Servers.
Yeah, server stability.
servers for
If they can get those three major issues fixed, I think honestly, like we would enjoy the experience in the game, right? I think the experience that we get would be good enough.
Well, I'm having there's and I don't, we've talked about it like in the Discord, throughout the week. There's like an intangible part of this game that's just fun. I don't know what it might just be like the Souls-like combat esque. It could be that the time to kill in this game is about 99% what it should be, even in large scale. Like there's so many like small things that are like kind of not minute, but like nuanced that really make the game enjoyable that it's almost hard to put your finger on sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm happy with my decision that I made even before the game came up to like main it when it comes up, in live. And it'll be interesting to see what an experience that's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit
ride.
the game turned out to be much better than like I expected. Like I expected it to be pretty dog, but pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
Thanks for
the
giving me
intangible
that.
part of the game is the part that is the hardest to do, right? So they've got that for sure. And
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, definitely. Like it just feels good to be in the game. It feels good to run around, feels good to gather, feels good to fight. Like that part of the game I think they've got, and that's the hardest part to get. So now they just have to actually get some designers who think about these problems, and just it's all it takes is just thinking about them, right? I think what the biggest problem is, honestly, is that they probably have not had time to think. I bet these guys have been doing 80-hour crunch weeks for the past like 3 months to try to get this thing out on time, because that's exactly how it was when I was at Sony. Like when we had a launch date, bro, nobody was sleeping. Like you were eating at work 3 times a day. You would go to work all day. You were at work, you were commuting to work, or you were sleeping. That was your whole fucking life. And like that's not good for being creative. That's not good for being productive. And I guarantee you, that's the state that these guys have been in coming up to this launch date.
Absolutely. I think it's very important for them after like get the game launched, do like 2 to 3 weeks of triage, and then like give everybody like just slow down for like a month just to give everybody that breath of air and like regain, like give people time to think about issues and like come in, just enjoy a cup of coffee while they're like, hey, what do you think about this, Fred? They're like, oh, that kind of sucks.
How
We
were
should
your
work on
Tinder
that.
dates?
Yeah. And like that, definitely that, recoup time. And obviously they need to, then buckle down for whatever their expansion is going to be in January, February timeframe. But I think that's really, really true that like they need that time to be able to discuss things. Because I mean, it gets the same way. I was doing my Infinite stream, like, and I literally just streaming, eating, sleeping all the time. That's all I was doing. Like, I didn't have time to like catch up with family, like catch up with any of you guys, hang out with people in like real life. Like, I literally just all that fell by the wayside. And so I can definitely relate to that. Maybe not in a game developer sense, but at least in like not doing anything else, and knowing how that affects your life. I definitely can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have to talk about? Is there any big news for the week?
I think we all basically played this game 90 hours this week.
Yeah, dude, that's
Maybe
bad.
100?
I didn't really see a whole lot outside of this.
I
Just
don't-
like random shit here and there, life stuff. That's about it.
I don't think we have to have the most amazing and longest podcast in the world every single week. I think we're just allowed to get wrapped up in a game and run it over for a little bit and maybe just call it.
I think it's kind of interesting with this. We don't have to talk about this for super long, but I have been paying attention to what's going on with WoW and Blizzard and the lawsuit and all that. And it seems like a lot of big creators. I know Mad Season and Preach are both done. Those are like major WoW people that have been around for years and years, like probably decades at this point, playing that game. And they are just completely done with the game, made like very long, in-depth quitting videos where they just seem really super fed up. And I think that combined with the lawsuit, combined with FF14 blowing up. I mean, we were speculating about this a while ago, but I think it's official now. Like the shift has happened. WoW is no longer the king, and I don't ever think it will be again. I think the genre's completely changed forever. Like going forward here, we're gonna actually see some new shit happen.
Man, that'd be so good for the genre. Jesus Christ.
I know, man. Like I didn't think it would ever happen, and I think it's finally happened like in the past couple weeks.
Just as we all started to kind of like really accept it. or at least I did. I was
So
starting to really
apparently
resent it.
on WoW Classic they removed the like the ability to spit on someone or something. I don't really understand. So there's like outrage about
They
that.
did.
Yeah, they took off the ability to like spit on people.
I canceled my WoW Classic sub this week, so I don't know. I don't think I'm ever logging back into that game
They
again.
replaced it with a slash grab ass.
I was
Oh.
like memeing earlier. I was like, so you can't spit on people in game, but you can grab cooter at work. It's like, what the hell, dude? It's fucking weird.
Maintenance closet number 7.
Fucking odd, bro.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Hopefully, I think it's good.
What do you think that means for the future of the genre? Like, I mean, honestly, like it couldn't have happened a better time for a new world. One person's misfortune is another person's fortune.
Here's what I think it is, and this might just be very optimistic of me, but I actually think what is going to fundamentally change, or the lesson that these developers should fundamentally learn from all of this. This might sound like cheesy or whatever, but like morality actually matters. Like, even if you are just a cynical person who only wants to make money and doesn't give a fuck, you still have to do the right thing. Like Final Fantasy 14, it is where it is because the people at that company are doing the right thing. Like, they do what needs to be done at their job. They act right. Like there's this like, it's hard to put into words, but there's this like moral fortitude. There's this passion and dedication to what they're doing that is obvious to everyone. And it didn't pay off right away. But now that it is paying off, it's paying off big. Like they physically cannot get enough servers to fit the amount of players who are trying to log into Final Fantasy 14 right now. And I don't think it's just like the game being super good that has caused that. I think the game is good because it has good people working on it, and because the leadership for that game knows how to talk to their players and respects their players, and like has a positive, non-antagonistic, collaborative relationship with the people at the company and with the other players. Like, when you watch that documentary of the 14 guys and they talk about like, debating about shutting their servers down to help with the tsunami and like the relief effort, and like, you don't get the sense from that company that they are forcing their employees to do 80-hour crunch weeks and like, piss in a bottle in order to hit quotas. Like, you get the sense that they actually care about doing the right thing. And the employees, I think that, then enjoy working there to an extent where that shines through and they're able to be creative and productive. And, I think you have companies like Blizzard Activision that are just treating their employees like cogs in a machine. And that has consequences, not just from a humanitarian standpoint, but also now from a financial and reputation standpoint. And it took a while. It took way longer than it should have. But I think we're finally seeing both of those things simultaneously. We're seeing Blizzard get punished for their lack of moral fortitude, and we're seeing FF14 get rewarded for it. And I honestly hope that like cynical, money-driven people will look at this and say, wow, it actually does pay off to do the fucking right thing every once in a while.
That's interesting, because I've been watching stuff about like R. Kelly, and Michael Jackson and all that stuff. There were some documentaries that came out about them that obviously stir up controversies, and I thought it was going to be kind of more of the same, where it's like, well, you don't have to delete Michael Jackson's music because his music is objectively good. R. Kelly's is pretty much the same too. Harry Weinstein and his movies, like all these kind of serial sexual predators put out amazing content, but they were dog shit human beings. And so it's like, the conversation's like, do you delete the music off your iTunes, or do you just accept that these are terrible people, did terrible things, but they made good things? And so I thought this was just going to be another, and maybe there's more going towards it, right? Because R. Kelly's latest album isn't terrible. That's not how, it's hard to make a parallel the two. But I thought these guys were really honestly just going to be like, oh shit, that sucks. Because that's kind of what happened with Riot. Like, nobody is playing Valorant right now going, well, remember when there were a bunch of scumbags, Nobody's playing League of Legends right now going, well, remember when there were a bunch of scumbags? And there's very little exodus from those games. So I think it might be a culmination of that a little bit. I don't know if it really has the effect of morality that you think it does. Hopefully it does.
What's
but I think it's
beyond
more people are
just
tired
the
of WoW. I think that was the last straw.
Yeah,
or
but
something.
why are people tired of WoW? I think you're begging the question there, because like the point is it's beyond just the sexual harassment stuff.
Right.
If you read these allegations that are coming out about Blizzard, it's like the company just sucks ass to work for. Like they just don't treat their employees well. They don't respect their employees. They don't treat them like humans. And it's beyond the ass grabbing. It has to do with like just the overall working conditions there. And I think that's why WoW has suffered, and all their products have suffered as a result of that, because they're not attracting the best people by doing that. They might be saving money in the short term, but in the long term, they're paying for it now.
I mean,
I guess
I hope
we
it
all have
happens more
those.
often, right? Like, I hope things like that come to light more often, where it's like you can make fuck tons of money without fucking over your workers and your like employee base, right?
Yeah, and I
Like,
think there wasn't really a good precedent for that before, right? Like this genre has been about pumping and dumping for 10 plus years, 15 years now. It's all just been pumps and dumps. And there's finally an example with FF14 where the people with money can look at that and go, oh, hey, it actually does pay off to just have like a good company culture and a good work environment. Like we don't have to cut every corner possible. We don't have to force people into shitty working conditions to save 3 cents on the dollar. Like we can actually, it's worth investing in the people and the culture and the customer, and there is a way that pays off.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad that companies don't know that, like really successful companies. But I guess you can see the lack of, right. So I think through the bad work environment, you can see the lack of innovation. You could really see the results of having a bad work environment through their product and the lack thereof in the past 5 to 10 years or however long this has been going on. So yeah, hopefully people learn from it. But I just thought I was just like digging into all those documentaries yesterday.
Yeah,
and it's interesting, not quite parallel, but
well, it feeds off itself too, right? That's the worst part of it. Is like, all right, well, you have a bad work culture, and then people don't like working there, so then you have brain drain, right? Which basically just means like the people who are actually smart and carrying the company leave the company for better jobs because they're smart enough to leave, right? And then you have people who are new filling those jobs. So then you have lower quality product, which means you may work your workers even harder than you did before, or make the game more pay to win, or make the game less enjoyable in order to get the same value out of it for your players. And so you're in a game of sacrifices equals more sacrifices, and it's just a feedback loop that just destroys your game. And we see this even in BDO, right? BDO has done time after time and again, like they have been sacrificing the game's quality in order to make the game actually more pay to win, right? And like that hurts the player experience, and they constantly neglect the things that need to be done in the game in order to focus on more things like new players to make more money. And so it's not about making a good game. And so you can only imagine that some of the people who actually are working for Pearl Abyss are probably considering looking for another job somewhere, just because of how bad their experience is.
I mean, especially if you're in like a creative type job, and like especially like the gaming community, right? Where like you gotta be creative, or even some like art related, where it's like, how can you work in shitty systems and still like situations and still be like have the same output that you could have otherwise, right?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, Walmart made billions of dollars even after Sam died, doing exactly what we're talking about, and almost completely changed, or did completely change how business was done in that way, and was probably one of the biggest examples of greed is good. Fuck everything else. Get the people the lowest price and roll over your competition and give no fucks about anything else. So I think that may have changed the large business mindset for quite some time.
Yeah, but
because it was such a
you can see how Walmart's changed over time too. Like people started caring more about quality, and like they started treating their customers better. They started treating their workers better. Like Walmart's actually one of the best paying places now in my area for like a low wage job. Right?
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
they had a shit ton of backlash, so a couple times. So they've raised.
And I mean, obviously, they still try to get away with
mom and pop shops, then, huh?
I still feel like they're on the Blizzard side of things, where they're like, we still want to make
Yeah.
as much money as possible, but we're gonna only do what we can get away with. Where and I feel like there's still opportunity there for our people to take advantage of that. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, though. I think you make a strong point.
Kind of you to say. I thought so too. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I hope you're right, Moreland. You know, I hope this really is kind of a market change in the MMO genre, because good Christ Almighty, are we due for it?
And like again, like good PR is pretty big, especially for getting people to try something they generally wouldn't. Like me, I absolutely loathe and fucking hate theme park games with like MMOs with a passion. And there's no way that I would have ever tried FF14 if like so many people weren't adamant about like the game, right? In like a positive light, more so than like WoW with the elitist neckbeard-esque kind of takes. That's why I always stayed away from like WoW and things like that. But you know, FF14 has that really dedicated community, and you know, they're just not pieces of shit, at least publicly anyway. So that was a pretty big thing, and like me giving the game a shot, honestly.
Potion
Bro,
literally
you can
has an
feel the
idea.
difference. Even just like watching, I watched a random clip of 2 of the 14 devs talking about the parse program and like what they thought about people using, because it's a third-party program, it's technically illegal, and someone asked them about it, and they talked about it for like 6 or 7 minutes in this video, and the whole time, like, I just got the undeniable impression that these were like thoughtful, reasonable people who cared about the game and cared about the thing that they were discussing. And like, it just feels so much different than these like arrogant cunts who like, when you look at the people at BlizzCon who are up on those panels and they're getting asked questions and they're just like, you know, trying to like say whatever they think is funny or clever or like going to be popular, or like try to get like
Beat around the
one-liners in.
bush.
It's yeah.
You all
or
have
try to
cell phones,
hide
don't you?
information. Yeah, or try to like, you know, try to keep information back, or try to like, you know, raise themselves up. It's such a different vibe, even just listening to them talk. And like, I think that shines through to the work that they do.
Agreed. 100%.
That is
I
definitely a
finally
big problem in the American industry right now. Is just the ego, in American industry and gaming culture right now is just massive.
Finally got bloodlust to my great axe.
Congrats.
Oh gosh.
Congrats, dude.
Thanks.
2 days before it ends, and Tim gets one of the most important
It's
abilities.
5. Don't get a tummy ache.
By the way, we have Siege tomorrow, Tim. I don't know if you saw that.
I'm not gonna be there.
What the
Okay,
fuck, dude? You got
I'm
another
proud of-
date?
Yeah, I'm proud of you guys for getting
Thanks.
it, but
Nice, dude. Leading the guild and not gonna be at Siege. Bro.
I'm doing a decent job at leading the guild. I'm not the main shot caller though, so our main shot caller is a bigger nerd than me. He'll be there. I say that with love.
How you gonna do Val like that, dude?
I'll do him any way he wants if he keeps shot calling.
Is there anything else?
I think I'm good. I'd rather
I
just
think that's about it, right?
go
I
back to
kind of
playing
like
Hero.
that. Like at the end, how at the end of the podcast we kind of add in this like philosophical / like higher meaning kind of conversation, things like that, and like tie it in and make it relevant. I like that. I really like that a lot.
I'm all
Good. We'll
about
bring
it,
a
dude.
topic next week.
Yeah, dude. Okay, I'll try to think of some kind of philosophical topic for the end of the podcast every week. I like that.
I didn't say every
Hell
week,
yeah.
but
Or
just
at
one.
least for a week or two, and we'll see how it goes. Because I like listening to like Moral's stream where him and Useless and other people are just like talking about that sort of thing, and like the way it kind of branches out. So we'll give it a shot next week.
Gaming philosophy podcast. Let's go.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, shall I take us out?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, that was episode 55, I believe, of Nerds and Words. I want to thank all of you for listening. Real quick before we head out, though, let's check in with everybody here and do some sweaty self-promotion. Kerr, what you got going on the stream this week, my friend?
Not a whole lot. I'm looking forward to running the dungeon with Potion last week. Like I said, that should be a good time. We'll see. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be a big waste of time. But we'll report back in on that next week. And more than that, just kind of trying to take advantage of the last couple of days of the New World beta because I've been enjoying that a lot before we go back to like status quo, So that's about it for me.
Only have to be status quo if you want to. Potion, what's going on with you this week, buddy?
I'm trying to get a whole bunch of like videos made for YouTube. I want to have a whole bunch of just raw footage videos. And then I'm trying to get some in-game builds kind of figured out for the game and how I want to do my progression from start to finish. And so that's going to be what I'm kind of working on. A lot of videos going up on my Lotion Shop channel. If you're not playing New World, but you want to see what some of the stuff looks like, you can check that out. I've ran the majority of dungeons and uploaded those there, as well as doing like invasions and siege and stuff like that, and those are getting uploaded as well. So if you want to check out any of that, that's on my YouTube, and I'll be more of that for the next couple of days, and then back to a regular streaming schedule, hopefully.
Marlon, what's up with you, buddy?
I've been going like 10 to 14 hours a day all week on New World, so we'll probably have one. We'll keep doing that today and tomorrow, and then after that, I'm probably gonna be pretty much done with the beta and looking to get back into FF14. So we'll be continuing to try to do some blind progression. Maybe I'll get Kerr in on that as well.
Yes,
I have just fucking months of content left in that game. I've pretty much concluded that I'm not actually going to be ready for Endwalker in November between just the amount of content that I have left and New World coming out in September. So we'll see how far we get. But dude, that game's just so fucking comfy. Even just logging into it for an hour last night when this game was in maintenance, it feels like such a good world to go back to. So we're going to be getting back into 14, and I want to start making YouTube guides again now that I actually have a game that that like has some puzzles to solve and has some things to analyze. It feels like the early BDO days where there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of bad takes. So I think I'm going to start sorting out some of these idiotic YouTubers and putting out actual good information.
I'm definitely not part of that.
Hell yeah.
As for me, I think it's pretty obvious. I'm going to stick around with New World. I think it ends. Do we have another podcast before it ends? This is it, right?
No, it ends next Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah. Okay, so if it's still not going, then I think we're going to try our hand at some RP on whatever server I can get in. Definitely not NoPixel. I don't want to. Even if I could, I wouldn't want to do that first. So, and then finish up some Souls games. So. I am going to fight the status quo and just do whatever the hell I can. But in my off time, I'm considering YouTube videos, but I don't know. I don't think I'm mentally ready to do that again yet. So I'm just going to focus on the guild and coming out with like internal guides for us to kind of follow. And so the lowest part of our guild can be a little bit higher. And then as we get into the end part of the game, we can all start sorting through that again, because I think this game is going to be more difficult at launch. So I want to hope for the best, but plan for the worst, and having some time between beta and launch will give me time to really focus on that while having some fun on stream. So those are my plans. That was episode 55. We're live Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's 12 p.m. Pacific on Curb, Moreland, and Tim's channel. Potion Shop sometimes streams it. And then you can find us on Potion Shop's YouTube if you want to watch this on YouTube at Potion Shop TV. And then we're on Spotify, uploaded a couple days afterwards. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have an excellent week, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.